Peace, 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 peace. Peace, love, and light to all American Aborigines. This is your brother Aboriginal Power. You're now tuned in to another Wake and Bake show. Make sure you hit that like button, share the live stream, and thumb up the video. Peace and love to all the American Aborigines, FBAs, and everybody tuning in around the world. Let's
Charlie. I really been feeling. Yeah. Yeah. We gotta carry on. Like Mr. Caldwell saying, I know that faith is all we need. I hear them church bells ring. A lot of strange shit is going on inside of this train. Programs is being ran and shit is one and the same. When your thought pattern is different, they look at you strange. The same ones you used to see me with, now we estranged. Cause now my mission different. It's some shit I gotta attain. As I go inside my mother's womb, my soul was ordained. I battle on. The war zone is Babylon. My one task is to bring the flock and the cattle on. Trying to change the vibration while niggas they Babylon. Now focused on getting my money tower of Babylon. My catalog is self-subscribed, I'm staying strong. I know my destination, I travel, don't know the roads. Don't give a fuck about this status and status quo's. Combative is data low. Cannot compute with this blockchain. I'm pinging off of towers, can't triangulate my pen game. I'm off the grid. The lyrical EMP, they try to follow down a rabbit hole that's filled with TNT. The last of a dying breed, just aim fire and squeeze at demonic chapters. I know the sigil on his sleeve.
And crush the regalia, shining like diamonds to the sea. I'll show you Wonderland. It's up to you if you believe. The son of the matrix, shining like nothing you conceive. A bomb with a pen, removing nothing's gonna leave. Alarmed by the wind, we smell percussion in the breeze. The drummer go in and leave nothing but the leaves. A nod and a grin, be the last thing you ever see. And the problem with him lead to a problem with a den. A lion sent down from Zion, bringing drama to your kin. I promise I'm like Obama or Osama. It depends on how God order my steps. When you stepping up to him, I'm different. Can politic or demolish them, pick a fence and stay behind it. Cause the lions is out again.
Too much fake love, that snake you in your face, love. Too much fake love, that snake you in your face, love. I ain't showing no feelings. I ain't showing no feelings. Homie called my phone, he told me, go hard with this rap shit. Lately I be going crazy, feeling like I'm bad shit. My men in the gutter, all these bitches want me crack shit. Niggas talking down on me, they don't want me had shit. Try to stay legitimate, I'm back on this trap shit. Try to run up in the crib, strike and made him backflip. Reals, he call my phone, I know he hurt, but he act tough. Bitches try to line him, we gon' find him, make him give it up. Bro told me I did enough, but really we ain't did enough. Trying to turn my city up, they trying to take my life from me. They trying to take my life from me. That's why I keep this pipe on me. Too much fake love, that snake you in your face, love. Your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God, bro. And the snake gon' show his face, that's how God, bro. Too much fake love, that snake you in your face, love. Your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God, bro. And the snake gon' show his face, that's how God, bro. I ain't showing no feelings. Weak emotions is expression. That's the reason to kill him. On the side with the feelings, but I got angels with me. Need some demons that's gon' blow him, but I pray he didn't. See my life has been in motion. I'm a little weak. I'm not giving up yet. If you with me, time to place up your bet. Ain't no turning back. Got niggas who ran. When we caught his ass, got caught in that jam. Yeah, you know who I am. Yeah, you know who I am. I can feel it coming. I can feel it coming. It's that feeling in your stomach, you can feel it coming. It's that feeling in your stomach, you can feel it coming. Yeah, you can feel it coming. It's fake love, that snake you in your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God wrote it. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God wrote it. Too much fake love, that snake you in your face, love. Your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God, bro. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God, bro. Too much fake love, the snake you in your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God, bro. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God, bro.
Suave on the track.
Whatever it takes. The Hollywood. Yeah, we had street dreams. Street dreams. Put my life on the line for this shit, we had street dreams. Street dreams. Yeah, we had street dreams. Guess whoa, Getty's on my chest, whoa. All about my check, whoa. Nigga, this ain't checkers, this is chess, whoa. Going in my head, cause I played it up this fast, whoa. Look, these bullets generous, gangsta and a gentleman. Feeling like I'm SP, I don't deal with middlemen. Bosses, I'm on bosses, chrome hearts mixed with crosses. Smoking palm leaves, but reflecting on these losses. Street dreams turn to nightmares into street dreams. Street dreams. Put my life on the line for this shit, we had street dreams. Street dreams. Yeah, we had street dreams.
Being Pablo, dreams of being Chapo. Never expected this though. Lost a couple homies stuff, fucking with my mental. I ain't never cried so much in a year. Skipping red lights, nigga, you won't leave me here. Mind playing tricks on me, we make it clear. 40 steps in the mind clear, ain't no fear. Street dreams always turning nightmares. Street dreams always turning nightmares.
Street dreams. Street dreams.
Shout out to everybody in the building, man.
Whatever it takes.
Like button,
Exactly.
Right.
This shit crazy.
Out there in the building.
Feel nothing at all. For my pain, it don't feel nothing at all. Yeah. Yeah, for my pain, it don't feel nothing at all. For these niggas now, ain't nothing but God. I had to move around with nothing but frauds. I tried to bring the team together, get my vision involved. I gave a plan, but niggas scrambled, it's time to pick up that call. You can't get 1,500 in a 6-week span. Time to pay up, everybody goes, I be down. I should've seen it. All I got is Rain, Slim, Tim, you know it's Teach. I got Tay and I got Leaf. I got Deja and Salih. I got Foreign, they got Feet. They say your name, that's cause you preach. Them niggas folded under heat. No umbrella, let them shots rain down. You believe in dream, just stand up, if not lay down. Let it rain down. If you my nigga, then just say it. If you ain't got it, then just say it. Let it rain down. Yeah,
My nigga, then just say it.
let it rain down.
Let it rain down. Right, this shit crazy.
Yeah. We gotta weather the storm. If you don't understand, get better informed. I'm from the trench, and my trust really weathered and torn. Where my niggas from the sandbox, trying to put this shit on top some water, but we playing lie. We all want the same shit, but can't get on the same page. How bad do y'all really want it? Niggas just be saying things, replacing with y'all lives now. Everything that I pipe down. Yeah, I was chilling for a minute, but I'm live now. Niggas talking about the past, come get with me right now. Come and really see my grind. Come and see me live now. I'm live now. I'm live now. Come and see me live now. Ain't no umbrella, let them shots rain down. You believe the dream, then stand up, if not lay down. Let it rain down. My nigga, then just say it. You ain't got it, then just say it. Let it rain down. Yeah. Ain't no umbrella, let them shots rain down. You believe the dream, then stand up, if not lay down. Let it rain down. If you my nigga, then just say it. If you ain't got it, then just say it. Let it rain down. Let it rain down.
You my nigga that just say it. You my brother that just say it.
Let it rain down.
Let it rain down. Right, this shit crazy.
Shout out to everybody in the building, man. It's your brother Aboriginal Power. You're tuned in to another Wake and Bake show, man. Make sure y'all hit that like button, thumb up the video, and support the channel, man. We got a $5 challenge going on for the rest of the year for all Aboriginal platforms. I seen Big Dog Philly OG live. I want to see further support Big Dog Philly OG for his time and his effort for coming in. Support the $5 challenge. My brother Aboriginal TV will be going live directly after this live stream broadcast. Make sure y'all support that brother with the $5 challenge. Don't, you know what I mean? Support all Aboriginal movements, man. All Aborigines got to support Aboriginal movements, man. Support brothers' time and that they bring together to put out this content. Also, man, their inquisitive commentary that they add in as well, man, that we all look forward to having during these live streams. So shout out to everybody in the building. It's nothing but love. I want to say I love you guys. We don't get told that much enough. You guys are amazing. I want to just leave that on you guys' conscious. Shout out to Consciousness Amarukan, Sky Pollitt, Stephanie Burkham, Empress Rain. That's 3 empresses already in here this morning. It's good to see your feminine energy in here. It always set the balance. Shout out to Ricardo D, KC Feather, Yanetta, C. Roberts, Tay Shout out to Laney, 5813, man. It's good to see you in here, sister. It's always a blessing. Nothing but love. Hope all is well with you and your family. Carmen Shabazz, Mother of Real Nature, Camel Exports, Yazid Yerbay, Hellamore Bay, Janine, good to see you, Janine, Grand Rising, Chief Serpentine, Ghetto Child Clinic, Juice, Roger W., Michelle Norton, Pokachu, Big Dog Philly OG, Juice, Darius Matthews, Drake Cobb's Music, shout out to you, Never Hungry, Craig Lloyd, Omega, Aboriginal TV, shout out to my brother Aboriginal TV, Sister Soul, I want to talk to you about what you videotaped last night. So sometime during this live stream, I'm going to drop the link. I want to conversate with you about that. That's just a sidebar on some other stuff that was very interesting. Shout out to Rising Aboriginal. Shout out to Chris Jackson and shout out to Yankee Dorsey. Shout out to everybody in the building. If I can get everybody to politely drop a fire emoji in the chat, that lets me know that you guys can hear me loud and clear. So drop a fire emoji in the chat, letting your brother Aboriginal Power know that you can hear me loud and clear. I want you guys to support the channel, man. Support the $5 challenge. And for those that do want to support the channel already, Cash App and PayPal information at the bottom of the screen. I will be reiterating that throughout this live stream to having you guys encouraged to support the channel. All right, so shout out to everybody in the building, man. Shout out to Divine's Clan. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. We all gonna get straight into this heat today, man. I don't even want to hold you guys up any longer, man. We got some fire that we're going to be cooking up today. We're going to be dealing with the Mounds history, Aboriginal history, lost Aboriginal history of Ohio. It's very important that we break down each and 50 states. We done did 4 states so far. We done did Louisiana. We did Florida. And I believe we did another state, if I'm not mistaken. I apologize. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. But you see the title, Ancient Aboriginal History of Ohio. We're going to be going and breaking down these mounds, stone pyramids, and also the Olmec connection that is found in that particular place. Drop your city and drop your states in the chat, you guys. Drop your city and drop your state. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the East Coast. YG in the building. Fresh TV in the building. I see y'all in here. Good to see y'all in here. Mr. Aboriginal Smith, top of the morning, cuzzo. Shout out to my cousin from the West Coast. Shout out to my brother, Mr. Aboriginal TV. Mr. Aboriginal Smith, excuse me. So yeah, man, a lot of people don't know, man. Ohio has rich history. We won't just be talking about Ohio. We want to talk about some of the indigenous Aboriginal history there. So I got some audio lined up for you guys. I will be adding in my commentary. So let's get straight into it, man. Before we go, I need everybody to drop a fire emoji and support the channel, man. We got the $5 challenge in effect. We want to see each and every one of you Aboriginal supporting the $5 challenge, man. So let's get right into it right now, man. Y'all already know the vibes, man. We going straight to Ohio with it, man. We up at the giant of the Tyner Homers. So
Everybody, video here for you
go.
today. I've talked about a lot of sites in Ohio, one yesterday. Here are some of the sites, and I still know I have some sites yet to enter on here. Some of these sites I talked about quite a while ago, the Cincinnati Earthworks, a few of these other places, but still have about a half a dozen still on my list from Ohio to go. And I've had a lot of comments on giant skeletons being found and that controversy. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about that today because I found a good ancient mound site. And then while looking around the other night, I found about 3 more connected to it, kind of. But why don't we go down to Knox County first of all? Fredericktown, Fredericktown is the name of the city. It's right down here. Some lost history we're going to talk about today, some mound sites that I just learned about recently. The mounds I'm going to show you today, I believe originally were like this one in Miamisburg. These are Edina mounds. They have a distinctive shape, and they go back maybe 2,000-3,000 years. They are the ones with the copper and the intricate artifacts, and some reports, very large skeletons. The first of these in Fredericktown, I'm going
Now look at these mounds with the steps going up. Now I want everybody to understand that by the time we start getting images of these early excavators, land grabbers, Mormon archaeologists had already pillaged and excavated and demolition these particular spots. That's why you see them lacking stone. This is why you see them lacking brick. This is why you see them lacking rock formation. So this is pretty much a barren structure. This is just the shell of it, but we can see the enormousness. We can see the science coming together with what we call earth workings. And so, yeah, just pay attention to this.
2,000-3,000 years. They are the ones with the copper and the intricate artifacts, and some reports, very large skeletons. The first of these in Fredericktown I'm going to show you is called the Rolly Mound right down here. You can see the shape of it underneath the trees. This is one of these sites that is just kind of covered up today.
Rolly Mound. Rolly Mound. They got another Rolly Mound in St. Louis. It's called Rolling Mound, and it's one of the largest mound pyramidal structures in the world. And it did have stone on it, which we'll be getting to the St. Louis mounds, and I'm going to prove to you guys that they took the bricks off of the mound or the pyramidal structure in St. Louis, took them off, demolition, excavated it, saved the brick, and built what we call the St. Louis Cathedral. The St. Louis Cathedral is directly rock from the Aboriginal peoples who built this particular mound in Ohio. So we're going to talk about that in St. Louis. Excuse me. When I get to St. Louis, it's going to be one of the
people know about this site, but right down here, ancient mound that probably goes back about 2,000-3,000 years. Just not positive on that dating, but there is a
2,000 to 3,000 years is during the time that Egypt would have still been existing. So you mean to tell me we got advanced civilization here during the time that Egypt allegedly have advanced civilization here? We got mounds and pyramids all over. The only difference is there's no houses, there's no subdivisions, there's no roads, there's no neighborhoods, there's nothing like that going on in what we see in Egypt. You see neighborhoods buried right on top of historical archaeological sites in America. That's the difference.
Seventh-day Adventist church right here. That's common near a lot of these ancient sites. Next site in Fredericktown is called the Braddock Mound. It's right down here. You notice an elevation change. The mound is right here. Nice homes here, but then in the woods in the backyard, just kind of forgotten beneath the trees right here. The Braddock Mound, it's kind of up on a rise. It would have been seen from all around. And these other mound sites, you could probably view it from on top of this mound here. Next site, just to the south, Knox County. This is Mount Vernon down here. This is called the McLaughlin Mound. I don't know how many people are aware. There used to be a large Edina mound right in the middle of the cemetery here. But I was looking at some historical pics, and I know I got the site right here based on this cement work right into the mound, and then this tower, or whatever this is right here. Here's what is remaining of the McLaughlin Mound today. You see the cement work built right into the mound here, graves right at the base. They lopped off the very top of this mound decades.
You know what they did to this mound? Now I'm willing to say that this whole area was probably an Aboriginal cemetery that they done coined, right, and then built up their own structure. And I guarantee this mound would have been a burial site for whom owned this land or who would have been revered for this land. Okay, so what we're looking at is that colonizers that coming in afterwards, excavating, taking what artifacts that was inside of these particular areas and then building their own structures later on, demoralizing and putting a hole, almost covering up the history that once was there. We got to preserve our Aboriginal history because so many people are coming to cover it up. A lot of people are building on top of it. A lot of people are trying to suppress it. We got to do our job as Aboriginal people to preserve our history of antiquity. Shout out to everybody in the building. I got a lot of videos to deal with Ohio, so I'm gonna try not to stop as much.
Go.
But we got a lot to deal with Ohio. Let's go.
1915 appears that tower has been there for over 100 years. There is a structure built into the mound, and there is what it looked like over 100 years ago. The conical Ladina Mound right in the middle of the cemetery here.
Shout out to everybody in the building, man. We got at least 2 people to support the channel, man. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to the 2 brothers that supported the $5 challenge, man. Let's get all the Aborigines to support the $5 challenge, man. That means Big Dog Philly OG when he go live later on. That means Aboriginal TV when he go live directly after this. Support the $5 challenge. Also, support it here. Support it here, man. Don't feel bad, man. Support the movement, man. Shout out to Dre Cobb's music. Shout out to Dre Cobb's music. He said for the hard work and dedication. Man, I appreciate that, Dre. I appreciate that. Make sure y'all support all Aboriginal American Indian platforms, man. They put a lot of time and content in this, whether I agree with them or not, man. Shout out to Roger W. Shout out to Roger W for the $10 Cash App donation, supporting the challenge as well. Shout out to Roger W. Make sure y'all show some love in the chat, y'all, to Roger W and Dre Cobb's music. We got 126 people in here. Let's get these likes up as well. Make sure y'all show some love to Dre Cobb's music and Roger W, man. We got 131 people in here. We got 81 likes. So we got 50 people that has not hit the like button yet. I think that's impossible. I think people just came. I think some of my brothers and sisters came in. They just catching the information. They forgot to hit the like button. It happens. We all forget. We all forget. That's facts. Hit that like button, man. Thumb up the video, man. Thumb up the video. Support the channel, man. Let's get right back into it.
You can really tell how much of this mound has been removed. See the top of the brick structure here and where the top of the mound is in current times. And then this is the way it looked way back when. In 1851, people started to be buried around here. In 1894, when a grave was being dug right in this area, they found a single burial, copper chest plate, copper bracelet, shell artifacts. Seemed to be a very important person. One burial. Today, surrounded by thousands. This cemetery it's massive. First thing.
Yeah, it's a massive cemetery, and I think it was something other than a cemetery before that. Hey, Empress Summer Rain, no, I do not have Zelle, but I do have PayPal. Cash App and PayPal information is at the bottom of the screen. Shout out to everybody in the building.
Thing here, large Adena mound, built probably 2,000-3,000 years ago. The dating, not quite sure. Let's go a little farther south here. Let's go down to the very small town of Homer. Right down here, there was a story written in 1824. Large skeletons found right down here. But this town didn't seem to grow very much from the time it was first settled. Right down here on the west end of town, large Adena mound right down here, still a little bit existing today. Not only a mound here, this is called the Dixon Mound. Still see it perfectly right there. But there was also an enclosure, a fort, as it is described in the 1800s. And that is right here. You notice some elevation changes here, maybe a earthwork wall around that place. But that is a prehistoric village right there. Also reported right across the road here, the highway, whatever this is, There was a mound reported right off the cemetery here, might be right down here. Now, one of the most common questions I get is what about all these giant skeletons found in the mounds from state to state? And a lot of these stories match up. Were people sensationalizing in the 1800s, or were they writing the best description they could? Well, here, this is a story from earlier this spring. Tales of prehistoric giants lurk near Homer. I have talked about really large skeletons being found in the Ohio area before. The Seat Mounds, I believe the Dover Mound just over the Ohio River, a few other places here. But it says the ancient mound in Homer is a rare surviving relic of the mound builders' culture, which once flourished in central Ohio, leaving its wake of legends of giant skeletons found in mounds and temples excavated by early settlers who laughed at the
In this particular area, man, they dealing with the height of some of the indigenous aboriginals, and some of the height is always mentioned with aboriginals, no matter whether they're in the north, in the Midwest, in Ohio, or whether in the southeast, as far southeast as Florida. So, but what is always mentioned is the height, and even that it's even mentioned in some of the Aboriginal Indians in the West Virginia area, especially dealing with Chief Cornstarch. And this particular area is not too far from that particular site.
technology to preserve the giant bones. Here is an early map of Homer in 1854 with the landowners plotted out here. The gold star is a Dixon Mound that I was just showing you. But a little over, maybe a mile to the west, the Fulton property, it had a large mound that enclosed a stone structure. That is what.
And listen, we're gonna get into the giants' bones that was found here, because these considered today, these people would be considered giants, and obviously they was considered giants back then. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, man. Shout out to everybody in the building. Make sure y'all support the channel. Hit that like button, man. The most important thing you guys can do is hit that like button and share the live stream. I politely ask you guys. Also, man, I want to just leave this inside of you guys' spirit. You guys are amazing. We got a lot of work to do. I made an announcement last night. In May, we will be outside, boots on the ground. One of the first cities we hitting is Washington, D.C. We're doing boots on the ground in Washington, D.C. And we're also doing the Aboriginal takes over the Smithsonian. We're going to be doing the Aboriginal Smithsonian tour. So I want you guys to be very, very much a part of that. Shout out to everybody in the building. We got 153 people in here. We got 107 likes. Let's get a few more likes in the building, y'all. Let's get 20 people to hit the like button right quick. Let's get 20 more of the family to hit the like button. Let's go.
What is described. I guess we can only use our imaginations to try to figure out what was once there. Here's the area of the Fulton property in 1854. They said a farmhouse was built on the mound site. Not sure where this would be, but it said it enclosed a stone structure. I find that very fascinating. Not sure where this location is. I don't think we have a farmhouse from 1854 remaining, but it could be right down in this area right here. Just doing a little reading here. This article starts off talking about the Newark earthworks and the dispute with the county. Then it goes into the site down in Homer. It says, according to the 1881 History of Licking County, in 1824, an excavation of a prehistoric fort on the riverbank adjacent to the Homer Cemetery revealed a very large human skeleton. It is stated that the jawbone would go over the face of the largest man present, with two hands placed between. It says the cemetery sits on a bluff, which may have been the location of the fort described. Modern researchers would conclude that the earthwork was more likely a sacred temple, considering that such structures are sometimes found containing ritualistic artifacts, but rarely any evidence of battle. It says the history book adds that around 1931, a group of local men dug 15 feet down into the mound across the street, which is formerly known as the Dixon Mound, also known as the Williams Mound. But that is the mound I've been showing you in Homer.
Hey, Sister Soul, we're going to have to do a build on the mounds and the giants found in America, and I got also proof that America, North America particularly, was connected to Antarctica at one point in time. So we got giants in North America, we got giants in Antarctica. How can we connect Antarctica to North or South America? It was once literally connected. Science already said it. So hey, I think we need to do a build on that, Sister Soul. Get with me.
It says over 50 years later, in May 1885, the Newark Advocate reported on the discovery of two giant skeletons in Homer. A few days since, one of the residents of Homer, in passing through a field, accidentally saw human bones protruding from the earth in a side hill, which proved to be of gigantic size. Upon further excavation, two large skeletons were revealed, both large enough for the skulls to completely encase a modern adult male's head with room to spare. Seems they were retelling a story that was written maybe 50 years before here. It says a report in the New York Times, Dateline, Canterbury, says that the initial find was made by Homer schoolboys and that subsequent digging by adults turned up two more skeletons and numerous flint artifacts. The Times article states that three of the skeletons were measured in excess of 7 feet in height, while the largest was over 8 feet tall. A report from the McCook Weekly Tribune from a week later ups the total to 5 skeletons and adds that the skeletons were all found with their feet pointing towards the east on a stone platform 5 feet beneath the surface of the mound. Burned bone fragments, charcoal, drinking vessels, and flint weapons were found as well. The most striking articles, besides the skeleton, the article continues, were a finely finished stone pipe, a bowl being large and polished and engraved with considerable care in a simple way. The figures are birds and beasts. A knife shaped like a sickle, reversed and having a wooden handle held by leather thongs, and a kettle holding perhaps 6 quarts. Those were all found with the burials, and those are consistent with things found in Adena Mounds. The 1881 history also notes the presence of 3 mounds 1 mile west of Homer on the property of farmer Robert Fulton. The book says that one of these mounds was flattened to provide the site for a farmer's.
Hey, let me say I pause and then didn't get to say nothing. I stepped away. My bad. I thought I had hit the play button. But we got to understand, man, a lot of this history is deep, man. A lot of this history is imperative. You know, the Smithsonian definitely got some explaining to do. We find these particular mounds in all types of spots. Like, how the fuck do you got all this science happening at 3,500 years ago in the North America?
While the other 2 remained, one of those mounds was excavating, revealing a dome-shaped stone building about 10 feet in diameter and about 3 feet tall. Probably a burial chamber, but it says this seems reminiscent.
You hear that? A dome shaped stone building, not a structure, not a pyramid, not a mound. A actual building, a dome building. When I think of a dome building, I think of the Moorish palaces. I think of structures in Moscow, Russia. I think of Opelika, Florida. I think of any dome building that we can see in our downtown area. And mind you, this shit goes back 3,500 years ago. They had buildings here. Don't ever let nobody tell you that Aboriginal structures are not that old when we've been building stone and dome buildings 3,500 years ago and 2,500 BCE. Okay?
Revealing a dome-shaped stone building about 10 feet in diameter and about 3 feet tall. Probably a burial chamber, but it says this seems reminiscent of other mound structures that have been identified as Adena mounds, dating as far back as 2500 BC. Speculation has run rampant over the years about large skeletons, which have been disregarded by official institutions such as the Smithsonian. Skeptics suggest that the reports were hoaxes spread by newspapers more interested in intriguing readers than checking facts. And that is the big question about all these articles written in the 1800s. How much of them supply facts? How much were sensationalized? But it's certainly interesting because a lot of them matched. Just going on here, it says But the sheer scope of these reports through the 19th century makes it hard to believe it was nothing more than a hoax. Collectors of these reports have filled books, but the big problem is that none of these skeletons are known to still exist because upon exposure to oxygen, it seems the ancient bones quickly deteriorated. Skeptics find that mighty convenient for the hoax explanation, but it is well enough documented that ancient buried bones do decay rapidly when exposed to humid conditions. It also says other skeptics have pointed out that ancient bones could well have become disarticulated, allowing space between the joints and giving a false impression of height. This does not, however, explain the large skulls described in these reports. This is the Knox Pages. Here is Mark Sebastian Jordan, the guy who wrote it. I enjoyed this article. I enjoy sharing other people's work, looking into this mound mystery.
So y'all can look up the Giants in Knox County, Ohio. That's in Knox County, Ohio. Y'all can do further research on that. It's no denying the Giants.
I enjoyed this article.
There's no denying Giants.
Other people's work, looking into this mound mystery. But he concludes it this way. He says he's not sure what to think. It says, one thing is certain, though. If there was a class of giants, Central Ohio was their sacred center. More mounds, earthworks, and reports of these finds come from here than anywhere else. This was once a spiritual center of an entire culture's world. When you pause at these sites and let your imagination picture it, you can feel the resonance that remains. Here's the way the mound looks today. Part of the top of this mound has just been lost to the hands of time. So the big question is, what was found down here in the early 1800s? Reports of big skeletons found. This prehistoric site here going back how many thousands of years? Well, I think that is a little bit up in the air too. But I find these stories very interesting. They are reported on from many different states. Large skeletons, one here.
Look how close they are to houses, though. See how close that is to someone's house? Man, we gotta break this shit down right now, family. There's so many mounds that they have in America that they don't want to talk about. Is ridiculous. So yeah, man, we're gonna get into another mound video, man. We're not done. We just getting started. Let's get into another spot in Ohio, man. Let's go, man.
Here for you today, and kind of difficult to decide what I'm going to talk about next in my Ancient America series, but I thought I'd talk about probably one that I'm really trying to get my head wrapped around and give you guys a good video on, and that's the Osiris shaft out in front of the Middle Pyramid of Giza. And that has been a big mystery, and after a video I do, I hope that isn't so much of a mystery.
Shout out to everybody in the building too. Shout out to Julian Johnson for the $5 cash out donation. We really appreciate that. Shout out to Julian Johnson, whoever you are in the chat, sis. We really appreciate that. Thank you, sis. Shout out to Julian Johnson, y'all. Make sure y'all show the sister some support and some love in the chat for supporting the channel. Also, shout out to Supernatural .store. He sent in a $5 cash out donation as well, supporting the $5 challenge. He said, keep cooking. Oh, man, we just heating up, man. We ain't even through the seasonings in there yet, man. We just heating up. Shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to Julian and shout out to Supernatural once again for supporting the channel, man. It's very important for you guys to support Aboriginal Power platform, man. It's very, very important for you to support all Aboriginal platforms. All right. So shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to the brothers and sisters that support. If you guys do want to support, Cash App and PayPal information is at the bottom of the screen. Also, the call-in number is at the bottom of the screen. You guys can call in at any given time during this live stream to inquire or acquisitive or ask the question, and then we'll proceed to move on with the live stream after answering those. So yeah, make sure y'all call in, support the channel. Let's continue.
Historians can give it a no better name than that. This really wasn't a fort, but the reason why they call it that is because this is surrounded by a huge earthwork, a huge wall that surrounded the place, but there was a couple dozen gates at least. So it wasn't built for defensive purposes. Was it built for astronomical alignments? Well, it was a massive wall, and you can still see the remnants of it. And we're going to take a little bit of a look here on Google Earth in a second. But they say this place was built maybe a little over 2,000 years ago originally, and then natives that lived in the area set up shop here. But when was this place originally built? Do I question the dating? Well, I question everything these days. I really do.
We have to
Reading more and more about this ancient America.
Even descendants of the people who came here to colonize our land, and descendants of the people who was enslaved in this land are now, challenging the story at B. And the people who's been deprived and exiled in their own land are now challenging this history as well, which is us. And we're not only challenging this history, we're not only questioning this history, we're starting to understand and prove that this is a major cover-up of who we are and what we have laid and did on this land. Okay? So that's why it's going to be important for us to keep putting this history out, keep dropping this information, keep challenging and questioning the narrative. And when we hit boots on the ground, all this stuff is already going to be ready. So shout out to everybody in the building, man. Like I said, if anybody do event planning, any event planning, please email me or contact me on my contact number that's on the screen, man. We need all hands on deck when it comes to this Aboriginal movement. We're trying to get together in May. We got something very big planned in May for Washington, D.C. So any event planners, please hit me up. Email me. It's on the screen. zellydadon@gmail.com. Let's go.
I think this series was a good one to do because it's opened up a lot of questions as well as answered some questions. But why don't we go down here and just take a peek on Google Earth?
Easy Wheels started as my college project, and we now sell our wheel covers all around the world.
Sorry about that.
Because it's opened up a lot of questions as well as answered some questions. But why don't we go down here and just take a peek on Google Earth? Now let's just go back here a second, if that truck will get out of my way. But right at the gate here, you can see what's left of the massive earthen embankment that surrounds the place, covered with vegetation, and I imagine eroded quite a bit. But when this place was in its original form, I imagined it was mighty impressive, and there is still a lot of it left today. And here is a view of that earthen embankment from about 100 years ago. So I think we've lost part of this, but very impressive. And this surrounded the whole complex. So it would have taken a lot of man hours to build, that is for sure. And now we are down just outside of the gate here.
Let's go back to that image and look at how large this mound is. Like this whole hill area going up here, this whole hill going up is all a mound going all the way around. You can see the other mound connecting. But look how small the people is comparative to the mound. This is a large earthwork. And I'm telling you that almost 90% of every mound, even this one, would have had stone prior to the colonizers and powers that be excavating it. Just look how small these people are and compared to this structure. This lets you know that there would have been people that would have been slightly, if not largely, larger than these people. There would have been people that would have been at heights much higher than these people's height, who would have constructed this. And it doesn't seem ironic that they are finding giant bones. Giant meaning anything over 6'10", anything 7 to 8 to maybe even possibly even 9 feet. But we're talking about basketball players here.
And now we are down just outside of the gate here. And there are some mounds out here. There's one right there. Here are the mounds we just looked at. And just coming into the park here, here is that earthen wall. Coming in here, you can see some small mounds. And a few of these are unique. You can see something in the ground there. Now we have a mound right down here. And what makes some of these unique here are these are made out of stone. These are not really earthen burial mounds. They're more like stone cairns coming from Scotland. Just thought I would point that out, and that's what makes this spot kind of unique. Now this is Ohio History Central, and I will leave the links I used below. It says the fort ancient earthworks are a series of earthen embankments that extend for more than 3 1/2 miles around a high bluff along the Little Miami River in southwestern Ohio. And I know there has been a few other sites on the Little Miami River that I've talked about. It says, although it is called a fort, it probably never served as a defensive work. Ditches are located inside the walls rather than outside, as might be expected in a fortification. There are more than 60 gateways in the walls, making it difficult to defend a site against enemies. The earthworks include two major components called the South Fort and the North Fort. The South Fort is the oldest section. A long, narrow neck referred to as the Middle Fort connects these two parts. The most prominent gateway is located in the northeastern part of the North Fort. And it says, these two mounds are located just outside the gateway. These frame the entrance to a set of parallel walls that once extended northeastward for nearly a half a mile, where they ended in a semicircular enclosure surrounding a mound. And it gives credit to the building of the earthworks to the Hopewell culture. It says, later American Indian residents built a village and a cemetery within the walls of the already ancient South Fort. Archaeologists mistakenly assume that these villagers had built the earthen walls. This latter culture was called the Fort Ancient culture. So the Fort Ancient culture is the culture of the natives that they really just want to put a general name on it, so they call it the Fort Ancient culture, which really is a misrepresentation of what this site is. And it is no representation of who these people were. The Hopewell culture, and I have talked about where that modern name came from, just because we don't know who these people were. But these people built these earthworks, these stone cairn mounds, these massive long walls with ditches, presumably from 2,000 years ago. It's a Hopewell culture that they give credit to, but they call it the Fort Ancient culture. That this site kind of confuses me, but very impressive. And here, the Fort Ancient culture, which is the culture misrepresented in building the earthworks, it says they lived from 1000 to 1650, and it says they thrived in southern Ohio and northern Kentucky. Villages were made of a number of circular or rectangular houses surrounding an open plaza. It says there is evidence that the Fort Ancient culture built serpent mounds in Adams County, Ohio. And they may have built the Alligator Mound of Licking County, and I made a video on that, I believe, too. Now here is Ancient Ohio Trail, and they have an excellent article here on Fort Ancient, and they have a video attached. So why don't we watch?
Recordings just got better. Hey, it's Dana from StreamYard. I'm so excited to announce that
from the high bridge that carries Interstate 71 across the Little Miami, we can look to the south and see Fort Ancient. The 2,000-year-old earthen wall is still visible, even from here. The earthwork forms a rim for the hilltop, enclosing about 100 acres. The southern plateau was ringed first, then connected by a passage to a larger area to the north. Long parallel walls stretched out to the northeast. Many settlements were nearby. Centuries later, two small serpent effigies were built just across the river.
So that'll give you an idea what it may have looked like originally. Here is some looks at some excavation done here. Here is a look. They theorize from one of these mounds that through gateways, they are aligned to solstice events. Now here is a look at the Great Gate, as they call it, from a very early pick. You can see the embankments here and a gateway that they use for a roadway.
Early 1900s photos. Look at these mounds. Look at these mounds on the side compared to these people. Look at these. These people was the reason they stayed in these areas because of the riches that was found in a lot of these mounds. They had always had dreams of striking gold again, gold that was found inside of these mounds. Artifacts that was never documented. Shit has probably been passed down as heirlooms from family generations, from colonizer to colonizers of our ancestors' artifacts. Seriously.
way later on. And here's a video about the mounds, so let's just play that real quick.
The large twin mounds frame the ancient North Gate and the modern road. It was here that Dr. Patricia Essenprice in 1990 discovered the deep trenches that the ancients dug from the nearby streams up to these mounds. Filling with spring water, they completed a water boundary for the entire earthwork. From here, the parallel walls headed to the northeast, with at least 500 feet of stone pavement filling the 140-foot space between them.
Yeah, but what's significant about the people that was dead, buried in these mounds, they had a lot of priceless artifacts that they would have thought that they can took with them. That was one of the spiritual systems. When burying the dead, you bury them face up and you place a ceramic pot over their face and you poke a hole in the bottom of it so the soul is able to travel through, and the soul travels through your eyes. And this is how they explain this. And this is also mimicked and used in North America. As far north as Ohio and burial mounds, and as far south as Ellesmere Door and Dark-Hearted Jaguar, where they found Dark-Hearted Jaguar queen buried in the same format with the ceramic vase over the face, with the whole soul the soul could travel. So man, we got to start having our understandings on this, man. The same reason we do it in our burial rituals.
They followed the highest elevation of the plateau to where a small mound once stood, just beyond Middleborough Road. Near these parallel walls, ancient building sites have been discovered, apparently specialized craft shops, since caches of obsidian, flint.
You hear that? Now, when they say specialized craft shops, and we thinking ancient and Aboriginal, y'all think of some fucking hut. Y'all thinking of something primitive. No, we're talking about buildings. We're talking about the first people to do metallurgy in the world. We're talking about some of the first people to do metallurgy in the world. Who is that? The same people in Ohio, the Detroit area, the Great Lakes region. How do we know that? Because it says it in the American Indian Encyclopedia. Let's get into it. Let's get right into it. All right. Let's read what's on the screen. Metallurgy from 5,000 BC to 4,000 BC. That's 7,000 to 6,000 years ago. That's 7,000 to 6,000 years ago, people was doing metallurgy. Let's read. And this was also being used all around North America, in the Northeast, in the Arctic, in the Northwest, South American Andres, and Mesoamerican cultures. All right. It said the term metallurgy refers to the science of abstracting metals from its ore, purifying them, and then making objects from them. This is the science that you will need to start constructing these marvelous earthworks. All right. So you need this science. The Paleo Indians, paleo only meaning the time frame that they're giving you is 6,000 to 7,000 years ago. So this is paleo time frame, right? And the Indians of the northern Great Lakes area were the first Indians, okay, let's go down, was the first American Indians known to have worked with metal. This is why we're talking about Ohio. This is the Great Lakes area. Doing so approximately 6,000 to 7,000 years ago, according to Susan Hazen Hammond, author of the Timelines of Native American History, they were the first metal workers in the world. Okay? Most certainly the first in America and arguably the first in the world. We're talking about some advanced science here, you guys. We're talking about sophisticated understanding of nature and how to manipulate it and make it best use for your environment, how to manipulate the environment. How long would it have took someone that never do it to be the first one to do it to understand, listen, there's some type of shit in this dirt, a mineral named metal. I need to get it. I know I got to purify and clean it, and then I can then heat it up to a certain temperature to manipulate it into whatever I need, whether it's jewelry, bracelet, tools, spears, or even a framing for a house. This is advanced science. How long would it have taken to accumulate this science? You're probably looking at over 100 to maybe even 1,000,000 years, 100,000 years, maybe 1,000,000 years to just to develop the science. before you see it actually forming. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. We got 178 people in here. Let's get everybody to hit the like button and share the live stream, man. We got 177 people in here and 135 likes. That means we need 37 more people to hit that like button, man. We need 37 more people to hit that like button. Let's get a few people to support the channel as well, man. Support the channel. Cash App and PayPal information is at the bottom of the screen, man. Make sure y'all support the channel, man. We cooking today. We got some more shit to get into. We ain't done. We ain't done. We got a lot more to talk about.
And copper were found. Caching sites have been discovered. Apparently specialized craft shops, since caches of obsidian, flint, and copper were found.
Mounds such as these at Fort Ancient probably had many functions besides burials. In fact, very few of the mounds at Fort Ancient contained burials. They may have been used for signal fires, as here in the North Fort, the Moorhead in the 1890s reported that these were basically large piles of limestone that were very heavily burnt. We also know that mounds marked the entryways of primary gateways into the enclosure. And really,
free Papu, it takes 6 months with a blueprint that already has been used for 7,000 years at minimum. We're talking about how long would it have took to develop it without no blueprint, without never having nobody to do it yet to that date. We're not talking about somebody that can do something with already the layout and print and science already laid out for.
Really, we're sort of a signaling device of the built environment that people would read, see the large twin mounds and say, oh, that's the appropriate place to enter the earthwork complex. So the function of the mounds here at Fort Ancient was much beyond that of simply burying the deceased kin.
But let me sum it up this way. It says this plateau was actually used long before the construction of the Fort Ancient site and after as well. We find artifacts here that date to as early as 5,000 years BC. In addition, the later so-called Fort Ancient culture occupied the South Fort around AD 1000. So the Fort Ancient culture, it seems, came along maybe 6,000 years after the original occupants. Seems the Hopewell culture, that's who they say built these massive earthworks. We have some early pics here coming from excavation. Who knows what time period this came from? It seems to be a whole mishmash of cultures. Historians call this Fort Ancient, even though this culture seems to be one of the very latter cultures that lived here. History seems to stretch back 7,000 years as far as artifacts go. We have henges, we have stone mounds, we have earthen burial mounds.
Yes, a lot of shit in Ohio. I just told you that the history goes all the way back 7,000 years in that particular area. And that's just with metallurgy. We ain't even dealing with agriculture. We ain't even started with agriculture. You see what I'm saying? And I want everybody to take that in heed when we get to this, man. We're not done. We want to visit some more spots in Ohio, man. We're going to break down this Ohio information, this history, and it's a lot of, and we're going to make sure we're going to show you the Olmec connection there. I'm going to show you the Olmec Mayan connection there. Make sure y'all hit that like button, thumb up the video, support the channel, man. Drop them fire emojis in the chat if you can hear it. Hear me loud and clear. If you can hear me loud and clear and see everything good, drop a fire emoji in the chat, man. I just want to make sure we're good. I want to make sure you can see everything clear. Let's get to it.
Ancient America, and this is truly lost history. Now, I have mentioned some of these mounds. The material in them seems some of them had clay that was burned. Some of them had a layer of stone. But were some of these actually stone pyramids? Well, none of them that I mentioned so far seems to be a stone pyramid. Some of them had layers of stone in them, and I mentioned that, especially the Miami.
He don't understand that all these mounds had stones on them. So shout out to him. I love his work and his dedication to the Americas, but I'm just adding on from a perspective from the actual Aboriginals and the descendants of those people who left those. And I'm telling you without certainty, there was stone brick on those particular pyramids. All right.
Emmitsburg Mound. But what I found last night, well, seems we had a stone pyramid right in the middle of Ohio, and it was removed and never really mentioned again. Let's go down to Buckeye Lake, it is called today. And the name of this has changed a couple times. It was known as the Big Swamp originally, and then it was known as the Licking Summit Reservoir. I believe that was the name of it. And today it is known as Buckeye Lake. Pretty good sized body of water. But the history here seems to be about...
Now let's look at this again. This looked like some type of snake. You see how you see the tail? This will be coming to the large head of the snake or the serpent. I just want y'all to know this. We're gonna get into other earth workings now. Now listen.
Pretty good sized body of water, but the history here seems to be about 200 years ago. They needed a bigger water source for the Erie Canal, and here I think it flows from the bottom of the screen here, built about 200 years ago. So what they did is they built quite a good size dike right here, or a dam, and that's what formed this reservoir known as Buckeye Lake today. 200 years ago, this was quite a project. I guess there was some controversy here about 2 or 3 years ago where a report was put out that really questioned the stability of this 200-year-old dam or dike or whatever you want to call it. So I was just doing some reading and I was shocked what I found. Now when I was looking around YouTube last night, some videos popped up for the Erie Canal, and that comes from about 200 years ago. And I was just generally familiar with the Erie Canal. But what I really noticed, I was just looking at a few things that popped up. But the Erie Canal was built in the same region as some of these so-called Adena or Hopewell earthworks. And it's just south of I think the famous Newark earthworks. But here is a sign that comes from the Licking Summit area, and this really caught my eye. It says, digging out of the Ohio Erie Canal began in 1825, and the first canal boat navigated the deep cut at Licking Summit in 1831. The canal going north to Coshocton and south to Circleville. So they were building this canal in this area of the earthworks before a lot of the research on the earthworks was done. So I just thought I'd look into this Erie Canal. And what did they find anything building this? Well,
welcome to your personal port, Captain. Choose a ship and click on the battle button.
Now here we are. This is the very east side of the lake. And reports had a series of mounds about 1 mile east of the lake. So somewhere, I'm guessing, in this area. And there are a couple sites that look possible, but just traces of this site remain today. And what was found here, something that is totally unique to the ancient United States. Here is a diagram of what was found here in the early 1800s. This was done in, looks like 1838, and this was done by a Charles Whittlesey, and he is the same guy that kind of poo-pooed the Grave Creek stone or tablet that was found. Well, here he kind of rewrites ancient U.S. history by diagramming a pyramid that went 57 feet high. And people say, well, only 57 feet high. Well, that's pretty high and that's pretty tall. But reports had this about 57 feet tall. And that's a pretty good sized pyramid. And if it has a base that big, well, that contained a heck of a lot of stone. And this is really the only stone pyramid report we have.
So this is a stone pyramid in the Hopewell area in Ohio. And what's unique about the Hopewell community is that, different from almost all the rest of the American Indian nations at that particular time, they started to take a unique architectural design, building what we call urban development and subdivisions and house homes. So this would have probably been one of the last stone pyramids built in that particular area, in that region, in that whole region.
Have that was actually documented as a stone pyramid. not an earthen mound. And this was totally removed. And when they use the stones.
Somebody just asked a question in the chat. How many sides do this pyramid have? Well, this is obviously a picture. It could have 4 sides. It should have 4 sides. Should have 4 sides.
For building that dam or dike 200 years ago. That's where this pyramid is today, holding back water of that reservoir of Buckeye Lake. So I just wanted to read any other reports, and this comes from a J.P. McLean in 1879. Perhaps the largest and finest stone mound in Ohio, and that's like hinting there was others.
Okay, let's say it's not a pyramid. Let's just say it's a stone mound.
That which stood about 8 miles south of Newark and 1 mile east of the reservoir on the licking summit of the Ohio Canal. It was composed of stones found on the adjacent grounds, laid up without cement, to a height of about 50 feet with a circular base of about 182 feet in diameter. It was surrounded by a low embankment of an oval form, accompanied by a ditch, and having a gateway to the east. When the reservoir, which was about 7 miles long, was made, in order to protect the east bank so that it might be used for navigation, the stones from this mound were removed for that purpose. During the years 1831 to 1832, not less than 50 teams were employed in hauling them, carrying away from 10 to 15,000 wagon loads of stones from this pyramid. But a 57-foot high pyramid that had a diameter base of 175 feet or so, as it was described in a few different articles. But this seems like a pretty large pyramid, 50 teams, maybe 10,000 trips, wagon load. Obviously, they wouldn't be able to put a whole lot of tonnage on a wagon from 200 years ago. But the fact that they made 10 to 15,000 trips and had 50 teams of workers, and that this pyramid was big enough to supply stones, it was worth it for them to haul stones from one side of this present-day lake to the other to build a dam 200 years.
And mind you, they took the motherfucking stones off our ancient Aboriginal pyramids in Ohio from the Hopewell community. They took these and built a dam to stop the water flow that flows through the indigenous ancestral land. You see what these beasts did? They destructed a pyramid, used the stones to block waterways that our ancestral land needed. I'm just saying.
Years ago, this must have been a very good size stone pyramid. And I'm not sure if this drawing is totally accurate, but it's a stone pyramid coming from the middle of Ohio. This event marked the beginning of the canal's construction that would take 7 years to complete, connecting Lake Erie with the Ohio River at Portsmouth. The engineering of the canal required the use of rivers where possible and channels dug where they were not. In many locations, feeder lakes were constructed to provide enough water to keep those channels filled.
And that stone pyramidal structure could be arguably 6,000 to 7,000 years old. That could be 5,000 years old. That could be 5,000 years old. Or older.
One of those feeder lakes was constructed south of Newark and was known as the Licking Summit Reservoir. It says, as construction on the Licking Summit Reservoir progressed, it was decided to protect the east bank of the reservoir from erosion, required a layer of stone. From 1831 to 1832, up to 75 wagon teams were assembled to move the stone from the giant stone mound to the east bank. It was estimated that between 10 and 15,000 wagon loads of stone were carried away from the mound. It was a massive structure of some great importance. As they were removing the stones, it was discovered that the stones were covering 16 smaller mounds of earth around the outer circumference of the mound. Once the stones were removed, the exposed mounds were left alone until 1850, when some local farmers dug into one of the mounds and uncovered a burial site and a number of artifacts. The burial site was covered with some remarkably preserved logs laid side by side, creating a wood slab. One of the farmers noted that the cut marks on the trees as being accomplished by someone with extremely sharp tools and not stone axes, as was believed. Some of the wooden slabs was forwarded to the...
How the fuck the niggas who created metallurgy, the first people in the Americas to do metallurgy using a stone axe? That don't even make sense. Like, cut it out. You know it wasn't from no stone axe. That shit was from some metal. It was from a metal axe. It's from a metal saw. You understand what I'm saying? I just read to y'all where metallurgy, that's in the Great Lakes area. You know, Ohio is in the Great Lakes area. And those people are credited. The Hopewell community is credited to being the first people to create metallurgy after Americas, and arguably the first ones to do it in the world. Come on, man.
University in 2015, a local archaeologist, Bradley Lepper, acquired a small sliver of wood for carbon dating. The results of this testing indicated the tree was cut down around 130 AD. So that gives you a possible date when these mounds were built, about 2,000 years ago. But here, Turin, Ohio, has a story on the stone mound. I'm just wondering if any of you in Ohio are familiar with the stone pyramid.
Sorry about to ask you guys. Hit that like button, man. We got 195 people in here. Hit that
Now,
like
this drawing of Charles Whittlesey, and he's the one, Turin, Ohio, has a story on the stone mound. I'm just wondering if any of you in Ohio are familiar with the stone pyramid. Now, this drawing of Charles Whittlesey, and he's the one who discredited the Grave Creek tablet. Well, this is how he diagrammed the mound, but other people say that this mound was built of uniform blocks of 40 to 60 pounds apiece, and it took 10 to 15,000 wagon loads to carry away this pyramid. I'm questioning what the accuracy is of Mr. Whittlesey's drawing here. But I have mentioned the possibility that some of these may have had a stone facing at some point in their history. But here we seem to have a stone pyramid that was made pretty much entirely of stone. Now, I was reading a book by a Barbara Mann, and she calls this the Flint Ridge Stone Mound. And she said there was also another stone pyramid near Jasper, Ohio, that was made with 150-pound blocks that was dismantled in 1902. And I guess that's just something I'll have to look into, because you really have to look into each of these stories individually to see if there's any truth to them. This was documented by multiple sources, and this stone mound was certainly there on the east side of a current lake called Buckeye Lake. These stones were used to make a dam 200 years ago that in the meantime has been improved. Now, I have had some questions. Where does the name Hopewell come from? I mentioned in a previous video the name Adena came from a plantation. That was the name of the plantation of Ohio governor. So we really don't know who these people were. The name Hopewell, where does that come from? Comes from the name of the researcher who noticed similarities in the artifacts of these mounds. His name was Hopewell, so this culture just got the name Hopewell. We have no clue who the hell these people were, where they came from, where they originated.
Actually, we do have a clue, you know. We actually do have a clue, dealing with some of the sciences that was found, seeming that they used a calendar system, seeming that they have worshipped something called the serpent. Yeah, we kind of do have a clue who these people are. As a matter of fact, we're going to go on a limb and say this is connected with Olmec culture, or what is known as Olmec culture, what is known as the Amaru, the land of the plumed serpent. The land of the plumed serpent. We got to understand that, man. We got a lot of shit we got to deal with here, man. We got a lot of information that we got to deal with here. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. We're gonna get to some more of this fire ass shit that we got lined up for you guys, man. I want everybody to take a quick glimpse of what we about to get into. Shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to everybody in the building. All right, man. I got some fire emojis out there in the chat, man. You know what I mean? For those that's tuning in, support the channel. You know what I mean? Y'all gotta support the channel, man. How's everybody doing out there? Is everybody up to speed? Let me look in the chat. I ain't looked in here in a second. Shout out to Jaguar, Olmec. Okay, I got my big brother. Okay. Shout out to Autonomous ones. Nah, these don't sound like Indians, Autonomous one. These sound like some sophisticated niggas, man. It sound like ancient motherfucking scientists and ancient motherfucking metal workers and shit like that. And they talking about having factories and crafts and building stone buildings with stone domes around these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Like it sounds amazing to me, brother. This don't sound like no motherfucking Indians to me. Let's get to it, man. Let's go.
I have a video here for you today. We're going to document a site that's been lost to history for almost a century. We're going to go down to Anderson Township, Ohio. And if we just back out here, get some reference. This is just east of Cincinnati. Other ancient sites around here: Chillicothe, Serpent Mound, Fort Ancient. This seems to be a very populated part of the world, going back maybe 3,000 years. Anderson Township here. This is the Dry Run area. And it took me a long time to figure out where this ancient site was, but I have determined not the exact site, but it is right in this area here, somewhere in this area by, I think this is Ivy Hills Golf Course, but somewhere by a gravel company. Now, Ancient Origins did a story on this a while back, and really the only video on YouTube is my buddy Budcat's video, and I will leave that link below. But this is the general area that the mound was in.
Let me rephrase that. When I say it don't sound like Indians, it means it don't sound like the culture that's credited towards so-called Indians. We are able to look at that. My so-called Indian brothers understand that they come from something a little more sophisticated, a little more technologically advanced, and over here we're misnombered as Indian culture or Black history or African American inventions. But to the other side of the world, historically, these people were called gods. It's what I call Aboriginal people. It's what we call, you know what I mean? Like I said, these are gods. We are more than all this. We are amazing people. Can that be our new name? Amazing people?
Until about 70, 80 years ago when it was bulldozed. Gravel company took over, and this makes sense right up in this area here. I don't know the exact location, and that's what makes this lost history, but I did find a good paper, and let's just read. The largest mound in Hamilton County, indeed one of the largest in Ohio, lay in Anderson Township, near the south bank, a little dry run, approximately 1 mile east of Newton. The earliest detailed description of this mound was given by Timothy C. Day in the Monthly Chronicle of Interesting and Useful Knowledge in 1839. Speculating that the mound is the monument of some mighty chief who lies interred in its center, Day noted a large beech tree 2 feet in diameter on the summit, the mound slope being covered in underwood and several large forest trees. Day measured the Levi Martin Mound, as it was then known after the landowner, and found it had a circumference of 600 feet and a height of 40 feet and a length of about 250 feet and 150 feet across. In 1851, Charles Whittlesey described it and illustrated the mound, but inaccurately located it 1 mile north of Newton. By 1878, when C.L. Meltz examined the mound, number 7 of his group,
It had been cultivated for the last 30 years, except for the previous two, and was covered with blackberry bushes. The beech tree, now gone, had become, on reliable authority, an oak tree 4 feet in diameter. Metz measured the mound as 39 feet high with a circumference of 625 feet. Martin, the landowner, would not permit excavation of the mound because of reverence for the dead. By 1927, however, the mound was owned by Willis F. Walker and W. H. Harbor. Walker, with the help of John B. Jewett Jr., began tunneling into the mound in May 1927, shoring the 6 by 7 foot tunnel with posts and oak planking. By October, some 350 feet of tunnel had been excavated. 55 feet in from the west side, the first burial was encountered in a bark-prepared grave about 3.
So this is supposedly a mound. They digging inside of a mound in a tunnel going this goddamn deep. It look like a whole structure right here. It look like a whole structure that have been covered up with dirt that y'all trying to call a mound, man. How the fuck you gonna go this deep into a mound when it look like it's a wall, like a corridor? What type of shit is this, man? They lying. They dirty than a motherfucker. They went in there stealing all the giants. They went in there stealing all the gold. They went in there stealing scripts. They went in there stealing ancient maps to treasures that we had. How you think these motherfuckers got ancient maps? We had maps going in from shit that our people ducked off over there on the Eastern Hemisphere. We had maps from going both ways. This is how you get other people coming in the 15, 14, 1300s with these map making designs from old map makers. They never tell you where they get these old maps from.
3 feet above the tunnel floor, traces of animal skins and a leather helmet were also discerned by the excavators.
A leather helmet. A leather fucking helmet, bro. What type of people be wearing leather helmets that you see in history that possibly could be leather? We haven't found one officially on any Olmecs in South America. Come on now. Don't think that niggas weren't wearing no motherfucking leather hats, man. They got a leather fitted cap on they found in the motherfucking mound. Come on, bro. How you gonna find a leather fitted cap, bro? Some of you niggas need a metal helmet on. I mean, had a leather one.
Changing direction.
I bet you niggas can't say red leather, yellow leather 10 times real fast. I bet y'all can't. I bet y'all can't say red leather, yellow leather 10 times fast as you motherfucking can. Break the record.
Direction of the tunnel, Walker and Jewett encountered the legs of a second poorly preserved skeleton at the level of the tunnel floor. These were removed as they lay over a third skeleton, one buried with his face downward. The feet of this giant were missing. Another giant was uncovered nearby, apparently associated with a ground stone celt, as well as a fifth skeleton. It is stated, however, with each skeleton was a burial token consisting of a lump of white chalk. Several cremations were reported at different levels in the mound. The bone in the oblong piles, from 3 to 4 feet long and about 1 foot wide, also discovered was a ceremonial
spots. That was ceremonial spots. Nonetheless, say, yeah, them football players. Yeah, I'm saying them ancient football players is Olmec. Them ancient football players, them Olmecs. I ain't even got that image up here no more. Damn, I used to have that motherfucker up here too. With the nigga with the leather hats on. You know what I'm talking about? The Olmec, them old football players. You know them old football players. You know Olmecs play football. They had most of the Olmec stadiums. When you go and look at places like El Paso High School. Have you ever seen El Paso? I'm gonna show y'all this shit right quick. I'm show y'all El Paso High School. That's ancient. That's Olmec shit right there. me show y'all El Paso High School football stadium. This shit is crazy. They got like an image view of this shit. Let's see if I can pull it up on the screen. I just want to do a sidebar. We'll get back to the Mounds. I just want to show y'all this right quick. Let me show y'all this. Check this out the screen. Shout out to everybody in the building too, man, that's enjoying the live stream, man. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Let me show y'all El Paso High School. Let me show y'all what the Olmecs did. They didn't take an old structure that was around by the Olmecs and your ancestors and turn it into a modern thing like a school. You see what I'm saying? They'll do some shit like this. This shit go back 1,000 years ago, probably. We'll say a minimum of 1,000 years ago. You see what I'm saying? And look at this. Look at this court. It's concrete, everything. Concrete. This shit been here. This is Olmec shit. And you know them old leather helmets niggas used to be playing with. You know? Shout out to everybody in the building. Drop a fire emoji, man. Let's get back to it though.
Altar or dais at the floor level, 7 by 3.5 feet, outlined with logs. It is very probable that this was part of a log crypt, as Starr reports that when the mound was eventually bulldozed away, the dozer operator noted many log tombs. From the dozer operator's accurate description, according to Starr, it is evident that the most common type of tomb was a simple two-dimensional log structure constructed from laying 2 logs on each side of a rectangle around the body. What was probably reported as another such log tomb was encountered in the tunnel roof near the middle of the mound, where excavators found 2 copper bracelets and a stemmed flint blade, the latter of which suggested to Walker that the name Spearhead Mound. And here are a couple copper bracelets that were found, and I guess there was numerous ones found here. It says Walker illuminated the tunnels with electrical lights, intent on preserving the mound as a museum. He charged sightseers a nominal admission fee, enough according to Starr to pull himself out of the depression. Walker planned to tunnel higher in the mound, but no information was available on excavations subsequent to 1927. C.B. Galbraith and H.C. Chetrone of the Ohio State Archaeological and Historical Society visited the mound in 1927 and obtained a set of photographs of this excavation. Those accompanying this article were kindly copied by James L. Morton from the Prince and the Hamilton County file at the Department of Archaeology, Ohio Historical Society.
Sorry about the ads, you guys.
Here is a tunnel in the mound by James L. Morton from the Prince and the Hamilton County file at the Department of Archaeology, Ohio Historical Society. Here is a tunnel in the mound, and you can see they actually tunneled under some log tombs here, and there was copper bracelets embedded right in the ceiling, as you can see here. But the Spearhead Mound was destroyed in 1940 by gravel operations. The site is currently owned by the Dravo Company, but Starr in 1960 reported that much material from this mound was then in the Perry Collection, Miamiville, Ohio. But the only artifact definitely ascribable to the Spearhead Mound was an unusual tubular pipe inscribed with a bird-like pattern. Clearly, the Spearhead Mound was an Adena structure, as evidenced by the log crypts, bark-covered burials, and copper bracelets, and stem point, as well as a tubular pipe. The presence of a skeleton buried face down is of particular interest, as this trait has only been reported previously in the Darby Creek area. Also unusual is the elliptical outline of the mound, though it appears to have still had the general conical form of typical Adena mounds. Despite the commercial aspects of Wilson's excavation and some fanciful interpretations, his work was comparatively painstaking and in some areas.
Come on, man. They ain't building no damn tunnel and no damn mound going mile 52 feet in and all this shit. That shit was perfectly structured like walls. Probably had rooms in this motherfucker. This like somebody covered this up or something covered it up. You understand what I'm saying? No, that shit was too extravagant. They don't seem like no primitive ass people built no shit like that, man. Not no first people to do metallurgy. You understand what I'm saying? We got to make it make sense when we having these conversations. But they just alluding, oh yeah, we suspect maybe. No. We're not doing that. We got to keep it a stizak. Keep it Iraqi. You understand what I'm saying?
Considerably advanced for the time. Noticing the wild lettuce grew from the fill excavated from the mound, he planned to test mound soil samples in greenhouse germinating beds. Unfortunately, results of the testing are not known. It is only within the relatively recent years, however, that the
come on, like look how small these dudes is compared to this joint. They done carved inside this joint. This motherfucking the whole little joint is like 52 feet. You understand? Look at this.
The archaeobotanists have begun testing archaeological seed samples in this manner to eliminate recent seed rain contaminants. Walker also had mound soil samples chemically tested by the State Department of Agriculture without revealing the source of the sample, learning that the samples were high in potash and deficient in other elements of plant food and would have been reinforced with chemical fertilizers if he wished to grow potatoes. Though inconclusive, Walker's attempt to have the soil analyzed demonstrates a certain amount of archaeological sophistication. Unfortunately, his attempt to both excavate and preserve the site was likewise a bit ahead of his time, and shortly over a decade later, the site was completely destroyed by gravel operations. But some slightly exaggerated reporting, they said these were giants. Well, the total length of these skeletons was about 6.5 feet. That is a very large person for 3,000 years ago, for sure. Were they giants? No. They were just as big as some of the tallest people today, but certainly that gave them status and stature probably in the general public's eye back in this time. But there are reports of bodies being found that can pretty much be verified that were a little over 7 feet tall and much bigger than that. Then it gets really hard to verify, and seems some have just disappeared. But that.
So yeah, man, it's just a lot of history. When you're looking at the sophisticated history of mounds and the history of Indians or American Aborigines or the American gods here, you're not looking at primitive culture that they're alluding to. And that's what we have to make sense to us. If this is not a primitive culture and these are not a primitive people, why is it mentioning as if these people are primitive? Why is it alluding to as if these people are primitive? You see what I'm saying? We got to ask ourselves these particular questions, man. We can't keep on allowing these people to keep lying to us about our history. It's enough people that's going out there on the limb and going against these mainstream archaeologists in their own scientific fields that back up what we're saying. We're now having mainstream scientists back what we're saying. You understand me? When we get into Olmec culture, we get into Quetzalcoatl, we get into Kukulkan, we get into the plumed serpent. You see what I'm saying? The worship of the Amaru, land of the serpent, the dragon. You understand me? And that's one of the main worships amongst all Americans. And then it was another worship, the Adamazi, the corn god, the maize deity. So these are the things that's important to our people that they revered within our culture. And so we're gonna get into a few things, man. Let's get into this last one, man, before we go, man. Let's get it.
Hey everybody, thought I'd do a video tonight on Serpent Mound in Ohio, this ancient earthwork. I was recently asked through a PM through YouTube what I had thought of Serpent Mound or if I had ever looked into it. And I was just kind of familiar with it. But tonight I took a good hard look at it and I kind of have my own theory to what it might represent. But we're going in here on Google Earth. I just want to show you Serpent Mound, what it looks like from overhead on Google Earth. It's this ancient earthwork that people say is a giant serpent carved into the hill. But I went around many sites tonight and I looked and I really couldn't find a definitive good answer as to what this thing represents. I'm going to read from one site here. I'll leave these links below. It says this: the original purpose of the Serpent Mound remains a mystery. No record of explanation other than the earthwork itself has been discovered, and the historic oral traditions that might have connected us to the distant past have been interrupted or discounted. However, there are many theories as to what the earthwork could have been intended for. Striking astronomical correlations suggest it was a sacred or practical calendar or an earthly acknowledgement of cosmic celestial events. The nearby burial mounds, though there are no human burials found there, and timelessly moving quality of the serpent's coil suggest it was once a sacred site of worship. Some people conjecture the serpent's form mirrors constellations found in the sky above. And I thought that was very interesting, and I thought they were getting closer to what this might represent. But here, if you can see this, I hope you can, but this is from above. This is the serpent here on Serpent Mound. And up here in the top right, there is what they say is the head of the serpent, and there is a large oval above the serpent's head. And I'm going to take you to this is a drawing, and this shows it a lot better. Here's what they say is the serpent's head, and there is this large oval here. And what they say is this is an egg, and the serpent is swallowing it. But I don't think that is what is meant here at all. And I think this is an actual depiction of creation. I think this is the cosmic egg, and this is the path that our world has taken to get where we are. We are born of the cosmic egg, and there are 3 coils in the serpent's back, and when you have something relating astronomically and it has 3 of something, that usually relates to Orion. So, and this symbol here, this triangle, and you can kind of see it here in the upper right, but this triangle, I believe, represents the womb. So, our world is born in the cosmic egg, which is the story of many ancient cultures and creation, the cosmic egg. We have the womb here. Our world takes its path through the 3 coils represent Orion. We are born out of the cosmic egg, out of Orion, and we take our place, and this, I think, represents our solar system. There is a small path, which I believe represents the path of Mercury around the sun. There is the second ring, which I believe represents Venus around the center. And here we are on the third path, which is our path around the sun. So I believe the Serpent Mound in Ohio is the story of our world's creation out of the cosmic egg. This symbol of the womb, or you might even say this symbol here, could even represent the trapezium in the Orion Nebula, if you want to take it that far. But we are born out of the cosmic egg. Our world travels. These 3 coils represent Orion. Anything with 3 astronomically represents Orion. And here we come down to our path in the solar system, the 3rd ring out from the center. So I just think that is the...
Man, this is not about no motherfucking cosmic egg. This ain't about no Mercury spinning around in the corner. No, this ain't what this is, sir. I'm sorry. You say you want to take a stab at it and give a wild guess. Boy, you are farther from the truth. Shout out to you for bringing this video. Shout out to you.
That is my definition of what this Serpent Mound means. a lot of these ancient civilizations were represented through the serpent, the feathered serpent of Mesoamerica. You have a lot of serpent symbology in ancient Egypt from that ancient culture before the Egyptians. So it kind of tells you who they are, where they came from, and where they are today, as far as where the Earth is in relation to the planets and the sun and the orbit down here. So I might be crazy. Hope you followed along. Hope that made sense. Have a nice night.
So listen, man. This is talking about creation, but it's not talking about human creation. It's talking about creation of civilization, and it's showing that this area was established. This is considered Hopewell area. When you see the snake, this is not talking about the creation. It's talking about the rebirth. You talking? This is the Quetzalcoatl story. When you go and look at Serpent Mound, and you look at particular other images that you see on the, oops, I didn't mean to put that up, but like when you go and look at like the site at La Venta, right? The Olmec with the bag inside of the plume serpent. This is just talking about establishing and bringing civilization. It's talking about when creation and civilization was there. So if they date that mound and see how far back that mound goes, that's truly going to tell you how far civilization been there. Seriously. You know what I'm talking about? Seriously. This is the bringers of civilization. I done did bills on this. I'm not even about to, and for those that can't see this, there's another image of this that gets into more defined detail of this image. But this is a plume serpent. This is the Olmec inside of what we will call the dragon. You understand what I'm saying? Let me put another image on the screen. This is that same imagery. Come on, man. Y'all got to get into the science. Don't let bro. He gave a good guess. This is the maize deity. Look it up. This is the motherfucking snake god. That's the dragon. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. I gotta pay attention, man. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. I'm probably gonna drop the link in the chat in just a second, man. The snake, the maize deity is the second god to be revered in Olmec culture. The maize deity is just the nigga who GMO'd the motherfucking first piece of maize into corn. That's the nigga who broke science. That's like the Einstein of the ancient niggas. The first nigga to be like, oh yeah, I cloned a goat. Yeah, all right, boom. Hey, my man, he the first nigga to clone maize. He GMO'd it till you can get corn. You can pop corn, make energy, motherfucking oil. You can feed cows. You can do all kind of shit with this shit, man. He made a breakthrough. Yeah, that's how that is. That's what the maize deity is. That ain't no motherfucking mystical shit. That's the nigga who was a scientist. They're the world, the motherfucking whole Amaru talk about, nigga, because everybody started using it. It was beneficiary to their motherfucking area. It's not hard. It's not motherfucking rocket science. These ain't primitive niggas. I'm gonna drop the link in the chat, man. Shout out to my nigga Anceint this morning, man. Come on the panel, man. I know you got some heat for today. And anybody else want to come on, man? Like I said, peace and love to everybody. I'm not dealing with debacles. I'm not dealing with negative energy. I'm just giving my own historical perspective. We may disagree or we may agree on historical understandings, but I would rather have conversations when it comes to this. Either you're going to add to it and build. If you disagree, we're just going to agree to disagree. You understand me? And if you do want to come up here and you don't agree, just at least add to something that you do agree with, which is the current condition of our people right now in America, dealing with economic footing and political footing. All right. So let's get it, man. I'm only peace and love to everybody. We got a lot of growing to do. We got a lot of maturing to do. And we got a lot of storing and organizing this information so the youth can have something to go by. All right. So peace and love to everybody in the chat. What's going on, Superman?
Man, I'm just chilling, man, learning, man. You know, I just come here to take in information and add my little bit.
Man, go ahead. You got the flow, brother Superman.
I mean, you know, we already know that we've been here and we're gonna be here. We just got to get back to building it and knowing ourselves, who we are, what we are, and just do it. It's not, you know, it's gonna be a big task because we've been brainwashed. A lot of shit affect us. They dropped all kind of chemical warfare on us, psychological warfare. But we waking up. You know, we gonna get it.
Right. That's why we got something put together in May for all the Aborigines to be involved with. We're gonna be hitting boots on the ground. We start with one city at a time, man. We're gonna keep it going. We're gonna be organizing a lot of different things in particular cities for our people and awareness to help them understand how it's important to understand who you are. All right. And the importance is of how you can benefit and utilize that within economic strategies to totally benefit the heavily deprived area, which is where our people rely. So economic footing is one of the main goals. Political footings is the second goals. And then listen, everything else falls in the line after that. But yeah, that's the main objective for 2023 and for the next coming years, man. So yeah, let's build. Shout out to all American Aborigines, American Indians, and all the amazing Americans in the chat, man. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to the first Americans as well. You know. So yeah, shout out to all you guys. Drop a fire emoji in the chat if you guys are enjoying the live stream. All right. Drop a fire emoji if you guys are enjoying the live stream. Support the channel too, man. Cash App and PayPal information is at the bottom of the screen, man. Make sure y'all deposit something positive in someone's memory bank. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna try to work on a different approach. I know we arguing, we debacle, but can we learn how to build and learn how to add in with cohesiveness, no matter who it is? That's a hard objective. So let's switch the tune. We're gonna try something new for 2023. Let's get it, Shy Alphas.
Peace to the guys, peace to the chat. Bear with me, and when I get to the park, I want to show you some artworks.
I couldn't hear what you were saying, brother. Your mic was acting up.
Can I say this? Just become the change you want to see. Work on self. Then we step out. You know, get yourself together, get your house together, get your family together, get your hood together.
That's what we work.
You know,
that's what we're working on, because we got to work on this on a large scale of implementing positivity. And I know it's easy for us to get into the realm of feeding into the negativity and the arguments and the debacle and the debates and the, you know what I'm saying, which we still want to have those structured and scheduled. You know what I mean? We're still going to get the information, but we want to be able to show ourselves with a form of decorum, because the way I've been seeing the debacles and interactions with other people that disagree with different historical perspectives has been erroneous, and it would not look good on a large scale for us to operate in that manner. So I want to be able to put a different order of contention in, to be able to move more methodically, so we don't look like a set of dumbass Negroes, which they already have in their mind that we are. We want to operate as the gods and amazing, articulate, brilliant people we are. Okay, that's all. Shout out to everybody in the building.
For sure. You know, we operate in etiquette. You know, we were first civilized people, so you know we need to get back to that. You know, taking care of ourselves and presenting ourselves. And they already look up to us. They already want to be us, but they try to knock us down so they can be equal on our level. But if we start rising and really being who we are, they don't have no choice but to bow down. You know.
Yeah, and respectfully, you know, we are out of order. We haven't even got organized, and us as a people, we haven't been organized in some time, especially like when it comes to the whole Americas, and more specifically North America. And we're still mimicked. We're still the most watched. We're still the most revered. We're still the most copied. We're still the most influenced, even at our worst. So imagine once we be able to get our shit together, we're starting to gather this harmony and be able to build with brothers and sisters, no matter the historical perspective, but only based on for the conditions that we in. Imagine once we be able to get economic footing. Imagine once we be able to get economic and political seating so we able to make decisions. Imagine how much more our opinion, our presence, our reverement will be amplified then, only to be able to give a template to other indigenous Aboriginal people around the world. This is the Aboriginal uprising, and it's only going to start here in North America with Aboriginals pertaining to North America, and this is going to spread like a wildfire, not just here in the Americas, but around the globe, around the planet, around this plane of existence where all Aboriginal people reside. And so we're going to have to work and build with harmony. It's going to take us here in America because everybody is copying our move.
For sure. And for it to be sustainable, you know, it's going to be, you know, a gradual effect. You don't want it to just jump off and flip 100% because that'll spin a lot of people out. So, you know, we're going to gradually walk up to it and stay there instead of trying to hurry up and flip and flop and hurry up and change some shit. You know, my grandma say haste makes waste. We're going to do it right the first time or this time, and we're going to sustain it.
Mm-hmm. That's how it go. So man, shout out to all the motherfucking real niggas in the chat, man. Y'all know what's up, man. We changing the frequency. We making this whole understanding of being intelligent, being informative, be able to create economic pathways, to be able to get into political seating the new fad again, because us getting into this position only going to be able to have us running our areas and ultimately running the whole place where our people reside at. And this is the ultimate decision to get back into the forefront, to get back into seating. So we got to counteract what is colonization has done to our people, and that's the only way we counter strike that. And colonialism has never been a good thing amongst no people. And it's not going to be the thing that takes out our people. Because we're still thriving. We're still here. Us as a so-called Black Americans, Aboriginal, or amazing Americans here, or the American gods here, we make and spend. Well, we ain't going to talk about what we make. But what we spend is $1 trillion to outside people, outside of Aborigines every year. It starts here to learn who we are, the importance of knowing who you are, and how this is going to play into economic factors. Okay.
Man, they just waiting on us to tell them who we are. And they know who we are. They waiting on us to step up and be who we are. And economics is not going to be our problem. Because once they acknowledge that this is our land, everybody got to pay rent or go home.
Yep. Pay respect or go home. And we need our respect in the form of gold coins. We need it in the form of real currency. We need it in the form of tranquility. We need it in the form of respecting laws and rules and ordinance laid down by the Aboriginal ancestors and the descendants of those people now today.
Right. But my thing is, this is what I see it. Those rules were written for them to operate on our land. And they supposed to pay tribute. So if they're not gonna follow the rules to operate on our land and give tribute, they gotta leave
immediately. Yeah, man. So shout out to everybody in the building, man. Hey, man, the link is in the chat too, man. If anybody want to come on, challenge any information, we will allow any challenging to go on today. Let's get to it. Anybody can hit the link. Let's get it. I just want y'all to come on respectfully. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. We got 206 in the building. See how many likes we got. Man, we got 200. We almost got 200 likes, man. We need 4 more people to hit the like button. That's all we need. Hey, man, let's get a few people to support the channel, man. We got Cassandra Zorn on the $2 Cash Out donation. We appreciate that. Shout out to Cassandra Zorn. We appreciate the $2 Cash Out, sister. Make sure y'all show Cassandra some love in the chat. Shout out to Nonetheless. Shout out to Nonetheless, man. He sent in a $19 Cash Out donation. He said, support the channel, y'all. Shout out to my brother Nonetheless, man. Y'all show Nonetheless some love in the chat. He an OG around here, man. Put some respect on the name, man. Shout out to Nonetheless, big bro. We appreciate you too, by the way, once again. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. What's going on out there in Aboriginal American amazing country? What's going on out there? We got some builds coming up with some brothers and sisters. We're going to get you some information. It's a lot of things we're going to talk about. Shout out to everybody in the building too, by the way, man. Make sure y'all hit that like button on the way in. We need 4 more people to hit that like button. I guess ain't nobody hitting the link today. Superman and Shy Alpha, what's going on, man? People only like the drama. They don't like when it's positivity. They like drama. You know what I mean? So
that's why I asked the question yesterday. So we find out if the earth is flat. When we walk outside, what we gonna do different? Let's talk about something we gonna do different.
Facts. You know, we gotta understand that, man. I think Miami, Ohio is proof of Mayans were in Ohio. We're gonna get to that, man. I was gonna get to that, man. Damn, that's a good one. YLG. We should come on and talk about that. Miami, Ohio. I worked in a couple places about Miami, Ohio.
The more and more information y'all put out, the more and more it's just more undeniable. So either they gonna do something or people just gonna go nuts.
Yeah, man, our people is. That's why we got to start organizing and formatting and putting things in order. So things is going to be in place for the generations to come. We got to start establishing these foundations and making sure they sturdy. Because there's going to be people that's going to try to attack them. They're going to try to weaken them, and then we're going to just have to have trial and error. So it's best to go ahead and take part in that and get an early start on it right now, brother. New Penny, does the Tuscarora still mountain their land given to the treaties in North Carolina in 1830s? That's a good question. Listen, Tanya Parker, what's going on? Appreciate you listening in while you at work. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate that. Don't work too hard for them folk. And enjoy your day, sister. A chief counselor every day is business. Yeah, I see you on the chat, man. What's up with it, man? I mean, I take smoke now just because I'm on positive energy, man. I do take smoke, man. We'll allow a certain amount of smoke. We just not gonna tolerate disrespect. That's all. I just want to be within harmony. You can agree, you can disagree respectfully.
You got a photo of that picture you had up when you was talking to Lotus?
Talking about the one he was coloring with on the screen.
Yeah, the one he said he ciphered. Pull that up.
All right, I pull it up. Hold on. Since you want to see it, brother. All right, let me find it. I don't know what part of the live stream it was. But
It's okay if you can't, but that read those symbols, that it was saying that Amun used Amun Ra to establish truth on earth through Mayat. That's what that symbol has said.
yeah, we can look at a couple of them. I guess we'll take a look at some of them real quick. Look at some of the images.
Yeah, all the information you showing definitely should be ammunition for everybody that know who they are, the first Americans, and get back to resurrecting their family industry. We can't lose nothing new under the sun. Get back into this trade and bartering and open up these ports and go from there.
So listen, these are the glyphs that Lotus wrote down and drew himself. Talking about these glyphs right here, Chi Alphas.
No, it was the other one with the waterfall. I was talking about Niagara Falls and all that shit.
Oh, you talking about the Niagara Falls one? You talking about this one?
Yeah, that says Moon through Amun Ra establish truth and justice through Mayat on earth.
Is that what they say, bro?
That symbol right there is Amun Ra. That read right there stands.
Y'all sick, bro. Y'all sick. I'm about to give y'all another glyph. Let me find something. I want since y'all be doing all these breakdowns, I want y'all be breaking down Egyptian shit. I want y'all to break down some American shit. Hold on. I got something for y'all ass.
Shit, it's all American shit. Just gotta decipher the ciphers.
All right. I want you to give me a breakdown of this image I'm about to show you right here. This is one of the famous images of the Olmec. I done did my breakdowns on it. Hold on, let me go and find a better one. It's clear. Shout out to everybody in the building too, man. Shout out to everybody in the building.
Guess it's a peaceful, calm day. No smoke today.
Man, I'm curious. I'm waiting for this ciphering.
I'm about to pull the next image on the screen.
I always want to know what them little pictures meant.
So I'm glad. I like when people. If you always wonder, man, don't never forget to ask, brother. Don't ever forget to ask.
But I keep getting different interpretation.
Go ahead, Shy Alpha. Break down this Bomber Park mural with these niggas with dreadlocks sitting down amongst other brothers and sisters that look like of royalty status. Explain this picture.
I don't know shit about that picture. Don't give me the line. But it look like niggas inside a sweat lodge or something, or it's like some type of initiation going on. Cause then homeboy finger look like it's getting pricked by blood and shit.
Okay. Keep
Some
going.
type of rites of passage. Cause ain't nobody just could come up in the sweat lodge or any lodge like that. You got to be in.
Well, this particular scene is the pricking of the forefinger, and this is initiation for me for the teenage boys to become men. They become warriors after this particular event. They also go through another psychedelic process that I'll pull up on the screen in just a second. Hold on.
Bring it out. That's what's up. And would this initiation start at 13 years old or anything like that?
It started 16. So the young brothers you see in this particular image will be 16 years old of age. And so they go through this ceremony and they become initiated to become men. And then they go through another ceremonial preference to become a warrior. They go on particular psychedelics, and this is another image of them. Oh no, this ain't the one I initially wanted. My bad, I apologize. Trip. We got somebody fresh on the panel. Shout out to Amarukin. Shout out to you, brother. Peace and blessings.
Where these images from? The encyclopedia?
No, they're from the Library of Congress. They're from various different sources, but these are directly what's on the pyramids today. You can take a trip down to those particular areas of South America, Mexico, and go and look at these right now on the walls of the pyramids. These are what you would call murals. Similar to what a mural is today. When you go and see murals in some of these cities that you see, they're usually on the outside and on inside of walls. You see what I'm saying?
Right, the pyramids that's older than the ones in Africa.
Yeah, these older than the ones in Africa. Yeah, man. This culture is older, if not just as old. You know.
Oh no, it definitely is.
So man, there's various images out here that deals with, the consciousness.
Just think about all the trouble and effort and energy they put into covering this up. Why would they go through all this shit if they didn't know who we were?
Yeah, the Bomber Park Road. This is a psychedelic scene, initiation. The young teens they got initiated will go through this process with the shaman that's sitting down. They will ingest what is being ignited or what has been inhaled, what has been smoking. And the acoustic sounds will heighten the psychedelic effect. Also, the imagery of some of the images that you see will heighten the psychedelic effect as well, according to they thought process. So yeah.
Also, Bat, wasn't it a part of the rites of passage when they come out that psychedelic effect to paint what they experienced they went through?
Yeah, but according to Lotus, this is all fake. This is all new. This is something that white people painted on the walls. And I'm here to tell you that that's most absolutely a lie. As a matter of fact, that when you see a lot of these 1920 images, whether they're in Kemet, whether in America, and you see these Europeans on there look like they're painting on the wall. They're not painting. They're applying chemicals on the darker painted images to lighten up the images. So, and we can prove that these our ancestors documented ourselves there, what they looked like, what they were doing in those areas. Uh, in this particular paint that's used is very dated, old, and it comes from a particular rock quarry that was just recently found in Georgia. This particular dye, this blue dye that you see on these pyramid walls, come from Georgia.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Shout out to my brother 111 Truth Searcher in here, man. We got 111 Truth Searcher in here. What's up, bro?
Man, peace, man. Top of the morning, everybody, man.
Top of the morning.
Yeah, hope y'all got a blissful morning started and shit. I'm just tapping in and shit, listening in. You going in, bro?
Yeah, I'm just
think about the blue dye that's in Georgia. Those people perfected that blue dye.
Facts.
Yeah, they perfected blue dye.
Blue jeans.
Now, back with the, I don't know if that was Cuckoo Khan you showed earlier in the fiery dragon, but could we compare that bag to the Anunnaki bag?
Yeah, yeah, we can probably do that. We can probably.
They always trying to give credit to some alien, somebody who came from somewhere else. The motherfuckers had nappy hair and braids and shit.
See, when you compare certain things, like we got to look at the symbology. We got to look at the evolution of how they would have depicted, try to tell their story. You see what I'm saying? Certain images would have changed. And one of the things that I would love to point out is the bag. We always talk about the bag that we see in Mexico. Matter of fact, let's pull that image back up again. Hold on just a second. We're gonna do some compare and study real quick because we want to break that image down from Leventa. Hold on just a second, you guys. Shout out to everybody in the building that's tuning in too, by the way, man. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the live stream. We only want to deal with peace. We don't want to. But listen, though. So listen, when you get into this image right here of him holding the bag inside of the plumed serpent, this plumed serpent or the dragon is always mentioned of flying. It's always an aerial. It's always mentioning of traveling, going out and coming back as a vessel, if you will. It's also in reference to flight. And this is what the ancestors documented. So when you compare this same imagery to, let's just say, the Anunnaki, right, Mesopotamian deity that you see with the bag, that's also revered or referred within imagery as of in flight. Okay, he have wings on.
Also, Bap, could you let the chat know the meaning of meso? What meso mean?
Yeah, we're gonna get into what meso means. Yeah, we can break that down too. But yeah, so now I just want y'all to know that in America and at this particular time of the high relief carvings of the Olmec, their reference to revering to metaphorically talk about flight or travel was to have him sitting inside of the plumed serpent. The plumed serpent is reference to aerial or flight or to traveling. All right. Instead of using him sitting inside of it, they gave him wings. Wings is also a metaphor for travel, for flying. So this is the comprehensive comparisons that we have within these two particular images. And both being high relief carvings, both having sophisticated, one being found in Mesoamerica, one being found in Mesopotamia, one being called the Fertile Crescent, one that I'm alluding to is the true Fertile Crescent. So,
Bap, think about it like this. When a pilot get his wings, they know he can fly, right? Same shit.
Right. And so when we looking at this, I think that the imagery, I think that this particular image of who brought civilization and how did it and were established civilization at this particular time was established with either putting out a serpent or putting out an image of someone taking flight with this particular black bag. And what you see in the Levanta thing, you see all three in reference.
All right, let's peep the fly shit then. If we know nothing new under the sun, can we say that old boy or both fellas in the pictures was dealing with nuclear energy?
Well, I can't say that. I mean, you can allude, and anybody's guess or speculation is good. I know as people in the world, right? Like Olmecs, they're considered pyramid builders. People in North America are considered mound builders. And as anyone that deals with construction or anyone that has an understanding of building today, one that build will need tools. You would need that science. You would need that particular understanding. You would need things to help build. And I believe that the imagery that you see is them who build civilization. And that bag represents that they had everything they needed to build civilization. I believe that's symbolic to that. That's just my own theory.
Yeah, you're right.
A journeyman bag.
If you get into metallurgy, you don't find metals in nature already hard. You got to mine that ore, and then to get to that understanding of an ore and putting the energy into it and making it into a metal, that's a whole science. That
it's called the annealing. It's called the annealing process. And then they can use electricity. We understand magnetic science. We understand the science of magnetism, and we can use this to run electrical currents, and they can shock metal in what we call electroplating. Have you ever heard of electroplating? That was done by the Great Lakes areas as well, by the people who first did metallurgy.
Right, that's a whole nother science, because you got to deal with chemicals and current and all type of shit. So
well, what I'm saying is, no matter whatever our speculations is to what's in the bag, needless to say, is illustrated as a valuable. Whatever is in the bag is valuable. So anyone's guess is credited. Okay, I'm not discrediting anyone's guess.
So could we treat the bag like a feather? Anybody couldn't just have a feather.
Well, you don't see everyone with a bag in any of the Olmec images. You see very few people with those particular bags. You only see, and that's in around the world. You don't just find those images in Sumeria. Shah Alpha.
No doubt.
I think it's
listen, hold on, let me show you these. Hold on, let me show you these images right quick. I'm gonna show you these, because these same images is found in another site that has been recently found and excavated to being significant. You see what I'm saying? So these same bags that you find in America, I believe that they're illustrating something of value. They're illustrating something of importance. And I believe that something of importance is the tools and the jump start or the science or whatever you need to start civilization. I believe that's one of the key components. So when you look at this same imagery, anybody know where this is from?
South America.
Anybody take a wild guess in the chat to where y'all, anybody, some people may know where this is from. Anybody know where this is from? That's a good guess, but no, that's not right. I'll give you another guess though.
Indonesia or Cambodia?
No. All right, let's get into another story, right? Before we get into what this actually is. The story of Noah, he got into a ship and his ship landed where?
Antarctica or Canada, I think. I'm bugging. I don't know.
Mount Arafat.
And where is that at, allegedly, Rob Knox? Just appreciate the answer.
Shit. It's supposed to be in Egypt, ain't it?
Turkey.
It's in Turkey. And Turkey is in Europe.
Wow.
Right next to Turkey, you got a place called Göbekli Tepe. Noah's from, and then we get into the story of my perspective of Noah, this will lead up to this, but this is found in Turkey. This is found in Göbekli Tepe. And right at the top of this image is at pillar 43 enclosure D, you can go look it up. You see those same handbags. You see 3 of them lined up as significance, showing the importance to who and what started and brought civilization there.
And what type of bird is that too?
Hey, I'll tell you what's cool about these people, man. They date back as far as like the Ice Age was ending. So that means that these people were living on Earth when the Ice Age was ending.
Not only that, they built this exactly when the Ice Age was.
That's crazy. Yeah, they're
and
old.
what's significant about this whole site is most people see agriculture and then building. You see building almost before you see agriculture. So that means someone already had the developing science of building in agriculture who did this.
And that bird not indigenous to Turkey probably either.
Well, some speculate, and all speculation is good, but this is a high relief carving of zodiac constellation of what particular time it was in a particular area and what they could see, and some people even suspect that this is doing Scorpio.
Well, could we agree that around that age of Noah was some type of catastrophic event?
Say what?
Well, Göbekli Tepe is waiting for Noah, though.
Well, that's if you agree with the science of the story, but I believe the story of Noah is the story of Atlantis. Do you understand what I'm saying, Rob? You see where I'm going with this?
I got you.
And when we get into the story of Atlantis, it gives it exactly that same date.
No, you ain't lying, because the science was brung over to that land though that you talking about. You right?
Don't the Mayans talk of a flood?
Yeah, the Mayans talk of a flood. I believe a lot of cultures talk of a particular flood. It gets hard dating when everybody goes by a different time. You can be in Zambia today, and it could be September 2012, and over here in America is January 2023. Do you understand that? The time works different and is occupied and is ran in different.
That still would make sense though if Noah was a Mayan, especially being in the Florida area and all that shit.
Yeah, and what's particular about what's mentioned about Noah's Ark is that they mention a particular wood, and they got specific with the wood that was used, and that particular wood is only found in the Americas.
Could we also, for not speculation, but doing my research,
that's called gopher wood. Just for you.
It was a special passenger on that boat too as well. Besides Noah, supposedly it was Thor, the Atlantean.
Yeah. Well, I believe that's a different story. You see what I'm saying? I believe when they mentioning of Noah, this could be the same symbolic story of Thoth.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I don't think an Atlantean would have to hide from water.
Well, no, what's crazy is that the Atlantean civilization was taken out by water, and it's mentioned within the stories of Thoth that was mentioned down by Solon, passed down to what we get the last story of Atlantis, which is Plato.
I got you.
You see what I'm saying?
So you guys don't believe in the part where they lived on?
Where they lived on? No, I do. I believe it's romanticized, and the story gets scarce, and we're getting it from people that was either eyewitnesses with fragmented stories from a story that people that came later on that add their own inserts to it. So what I'm simply saying is, in the Bible form, it says that these same people, right, populated the rest of the world. You see what I'm saying? And I'm saying that in the Atlantean story of Thoth, the science repopulated and brought new civilization to other parts of the world.
And Bap, to add a little something to that, Thoth will be Shem on that boat.
Well, Thoth.
Yep.
Well, if Thoth will be Shem, you will have to explain to who is Thoth's father in any text dealing with Thoth. So
Yeah, we could say that for another bill because it's deep. Because
I wouldn't say that. Just but it's a good theory. It's a good theory. I'm not here to take away from. But when we're getting into these stories, we have to understand that the mythology lies within a lot of truth, and within the truth, there's certainty. So within the Atlantis story, this is considered myth. Within a Noah story, it's considered mythology. It's considered poetic literature, romanticism. But now we can conglomerate these stories of contentions that, well, or what is the factors that lays out it to be a myth, can be now retracted to be reserved to be in maybe even a fact, maybe even a certainty, maybe even spot on with now contemporary science saying that the Younger Dryas happened. And what's significant about the Younger Dryas is that it matches up with some of these time frames that is mentioned within the story frame. So that is my inserting. Now, this is not a fact; it can be up for debate, but there's overwhelming data to support it.
I think that when people think of Atlantis, they think of water all the time. Even if they are the sea people, where do they get they wood to build a boat? So they have to be able to survive on land and live on land. You got to come back to land. So it's not just that we just flying around on the oceans and never touch land.
Smoke hit the pin on what the smoke. My bad, bro. Go ahead.
Hey, what's going on, Ahanu PL? We got Ahanu on here. Peace and blessings. Shout out to the God A1, Atachinus one.
Hey, Bap, I actually just hopped on to actually say, man. I mean, it is scientific fact.
Bro, what you think he just introduced me for? So you can cut him off and say something, man. Mute your mic, bro. Peace of the guys, man. Peace of the goddesses, man.
Peace.
You know what I'm saying? Look, Atlantis just wasn't underwater. Atlantis was a civilization and an empire. Now I know, it has a connotative meaning of like some mythological place, but in all actuality, these people, they idolize the people of that culture. You know what I'm saying? And they're not talking about it just for jokes. We are them people. So Atlantis would have been part of the Maya, the Olmec, and all of that civilization as well. So besides the pyramids that's within that Florida region right there between Cuba and Florida, right? The pyramids that they said that they found the whole complex underwater. It just wasn't one fucking pyramid. It was a whole fucking complex that is miles and miles and miles long. You know what I'm saying? So that extended from the landmass itself. Now, so whatever we want to call them people, we see evidence of the structures and the science that they call the Atlantean science in America. So what I propose to people is this, right? What I propose to people is this, right? This is what a lot of us do in the community, right? Because they don't believe in the terminologies, right? Then they just destroy the whole history of it and don't know how to apply that to their people history. And this is the problem that we got among people who teaching this. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you're not a teacher and you can't apply it, don't tear down the whole civilization that we can correlate and we can cross-reference from being part of this landmass.
I'm glad you said that. Because my people try to tear down people, a little dreams, a little ammunition. We could give people out there through this little mystery.
Yeah, but that's how people do, though. They tear down everything, and then they can't give you nothing better. Because if we go like even the structures that we find from Florida and all the way through, all the way to Texas, because all that shit look alike, right? You know, when they say that, oh, these certain people build it, then people don't even come back and say they just calling our people this. Our people actually built it. They don't even do that. They just tear the shit down. They just tear it down and act like this shit never happened, or they won't even accept responsibility for being the people who built this science, because their knowledge and their education on the Americas doesn't they're not qualified to have these conversations when it comes to this. You know what I'm saying? Everybody got a part to play. And like they say, everything ain't for everybody. Everybody's not an expert at all these different conversations that's going on, because you may have read an article or anything of that sort. The Americas in itself took me fucking over 10 years to fully understand. And that come from reading many articles, all of this shit. Took us years. You don't learn this in no 1 year.
It took me years too, man, because I've been studying this before I came to YouTube, and like I said, it took me maybe 10 years to have a somewhat of a acute understanding, and only to now keep farthering my understanding and still learning and still researching and adding to that. But man, it takes a lot to come into. You can't just read one article.
Pull that picture back up, Bat.
Hold on a second. You just can't, man. You just can't do this. Then, in order to have a significant understanding to be able to speak on certain things, you have to have a certain amount of time dedicated to this particular subject. And I believe it's 12,000 or 10,000 hours in any field makes you eligible to speak or expert at that particular field. And some people don't qualify. Respectfully,
So like, even we say, like, we deal with, a lot of people got a problem with the terminology more. But a lot of people ain't qualified to even talk on it. Like, they not even qualified to talk about this shit. And I be listening to people. That's why I don't even go back and forth with nobody no more. Cause I know what people don't know. I've been studying this shit too fucking long. You know what I'm saying? And be confused. Like, once it start coming into these structures, like, and even the buildings, like, look, AP.
On her.
Look, Google Atlantis. Google Atlantis real quick. Just do a basic Google. Buildings in Atlantis. Just Google that and pull it up on screen, and let's see if any of them have we ever seen any of these buildings before.
Okay.
Hit the like button.
Another good thing to note is the Mayans had a god similar to Poseidon.
Yeah, and even in Mexico, when I went to Cancun, they got fucking Poseidon out there with the fucking with the what's the name? What's the like the pitchfork thing? It's not a pitchfork. It's called the trident. They got that shit right out when you go to Cancun. That shit right there. Like, they got that shit all through Mexico, and they got that shit in Barbados. They got I got a coin of a Barbados coin, and on the back of it has a black motherfucker with a trident on it that's being pulled on some type of chariot. Now, I don't know if people ever seen that shit before, but I got it.
I know exactly. I'm about to pull it up right now on the screen.
It's on their flag. It's on the Barbados flag.
It makes sense, A1, because all them Greek gods is dark niggas.
Yeah, see? But that's what I'm saying. But maybe like he said, the Greeks wasn't, I don't believe, and this is what I'm starting to ponder on. Remember, where Greece is at, that shit was called Minoa. That was the Minoans. You understand what I'm saying? So there ain't really no evidence of the Greeks being or what we call the people that had that so-called culture being over there.
All right, everyone, yeah, one's on the screen too.
Now, have we ever seen buildings like that before?
Absolutely.
That high school stadium you showed earlier, that's the same building.
No, they got built all of these buildings. If you're in Washington, go to Washington Monument. All of these buildings have some resemblance to what we see
now listen, they tore down a structure like this that they said that they created in Chicago. Don't this look very similar?
Yeah, they got another one though. That's
but that's a painting, man, done by a guy. Of course, he had inspiration.
It's not a painting; it's an actual fucking archaeology.
He's talking about this one. Yeah. I know this is a painting.
It don't matter if it's a painting, but if you're a researcher, okay. But listen, So this is the people who bringing up Atlantis. This is the structures that they said that the Atlanteans would have had. Do we see
Hey,
buildings like that in
Yeah.
America? No,
we
no,
still
no, no, no.
we still
See,
got shit
They
like
try
that
to
in
credit that stuff
Chicago,
to
bro.
Guys, they're guessing. They're just
you,
guessing.
hey, listen, hey, Rob. You know why you can't understand? Because you're not on the same frequency we on. We sorry for that. You're not on the
Well,
same
well,
frequency.
I'm not
So
on
the
I
your
wouldn't say
guys,
it
frequency.
so
was.
look, so the guys didn't download. They didn't download this information to you. You got a block. So you're not on the same
I
frequency we
know
on. So
Atlantean.
that's the reason why. Look, it's 6 people on the panel. All 6 of us concur except you, the white man, or the
Well,
Slavic dude.
but I
Hey,
believe, yeah, but just because I have a different
He
belief
only
in,
don't concur because he ain't a
I have a
descendant.
different belief in Atlantis doesn't change anything. I mean, you're just
You
hey,
got a
but y'all
different
gotta
belief.
understand shit though,
Go ahead.
man. Motherfucking like we still got buildings like that in Chicago. But on top of that though, like even with the mounds and buildings like that, they tore them buildings down and used them bricks to build a lot of them structures that we still see around today. Like when we showing shit like, oh, this building been here like 200 years, 150 years. But don't nobody never really ask like where all these bricks come from to build these structures. Well, as towns was expanding, man, they was stealing bricks from certain archaeological mound sites and shit, especially in Ohio and in the Midwest and shit, the Ohio, what they call the Ohio Valley region, coming from Minnesota back to Pennsylvania. Like they was tearing a lot of these places down and building up housing structures and shit. That's why them buildings lasted as long as they did, because the type of the bricks that they was using bricks
I'm
from
sorry,
ancient
man.
sites and shit.
There's no bricks in ancient sites.
I mean, first off, bro, in Cleveland alone, I could show this easy. Like, it fuck what me and you say, nigga. This is what is a known documented fact, bro. When
No,
Cleveland
it's not.
yeah, it is, bro. They did an article on this shit as well, bro. When
Rob, what's a brick?
When Cleveland and Akron was expanding, bro, they was going to fucking certain Ohio mountain serpent sites and shit that was along the waterways and shit.
I'm familiar with the sites.
But
There's no
god
bricks at the
damn, bro.
sites.
Can you shut
Well, you're
the
rambling. You're rambling on.
bro? Don't nobody get no fuck what you think, my nigga. Like you talking about what you believe, nigga. I'm talking about what is documented, nigga. Like I'm not just talking out the side of my ass, bro. Like nigga, this shit is documented. It's documented by your people. What the fuck?
No, it's
fuck
not
you talking
documented
about?
anywhere that there's bricks in archaeological sites that are ancient.
Rob, what is a brick?
A brick is something. A brick is something
Okay,
It's
that
a
is not
style,
around
bro.
in
You can
ancient
make a
times.
brick out of anything. It's a
Stone. Is
style.
that better for you, bro? Stone. You want to argue semantics over bricks and stones?
You're the one. Hey, you're the one
Like
using the
you
wrong
fucking
words.
retarded, bro. Like bricks,
I'm
stones,
retarded.
bro.
I'm retarded, but
Bricks
you're
and
using
stones.
the wrong words. I'm just calling you on your
What
words.
material is
He
bricks
not
made
gonna
of?
understand because he ain't a descendant of our people. So
Oh yeah, that's the reason I can't
You know what it
understand.
is,
I'm trying
bro.
to have a
It's
dialogue. And he's in truth always wants to just attack me. You don't want to have a dialogue.
You want to know the truth?
when
You
they can't
can't
deny
hear.
the fact is
You
when they
can't
can't.
hear all the sounds we can hear. You can't see all the colors we can see. You can't
Look,
feel all the shit that we can feel. You
That's
less.
absurd. That's
look, bro.
okay.
When they
So
can't deny the
we're
facts and
all
shit,
human.
bro, they want to
That's the
play
most ridiculous thing
semantics
I've
over
heard.
words, bro. That's all it is.
Rob, everybody not human. And at the end of the day, in this ecosystem, it's an order and seniority to this game.
Everybody's not human, and there's a seniority. So first of all, everybody is human. And if there was a seniority, then you guys would have
Hue
it.
means color. Hue means color.
Okay, human doesn't mean color.
Hue means color with a man with color. Do you have color? Then you can't be
Pigment.
human.
All right, man. Listen, you can do your entomology shit. Like I said, it's called entomological fallacy. You can look it up. It makes no sense what you're saying. It's just word salad. A human is
No,
a human is a human
a
being.
human is a man with color. You're mankind.
Break that down for him because his mind not computing. He's a new man. Break it down for him.
I don't need it broken down, guys. I've been breaking it down for a long time.
Now I gotta make sure it get stored in the back of your storage device.
I actually wanted to say that, like I said before, before I was trying to say, is that everybody knows that there was human beings here
You're a
before even
Tamahu.
there were human beings here before even Gobekli Tepe. But the whole point of the situation was we got to figure out who these people were.
The problem is you gotta get back to your root, and it's not from over here.
Well, I'm American, so I want to look up American roots.
You can't
Nah,
be
you a rhinestone. You're not a diamond. You
American
from
in
the
the new sense.
you from the rhinestone grid geographic location.
Huh?
you
Hey,
can't be
man,
an American.
opinions vary, man.
You
Opinions
cannot be
vary.
Nah, I
an
respect the
American.
elements. You crusty dusty. I'm Rich
Okay,
Clay from the Carolinas. What you
You
talking
be
about?
okay,
American
man.
if you
Cool,
ain't
man. You
colored.
You're done here. Anyways, AP, can you bring up that picture again? Wasn't that picture in Cuba underwater?
Yeah, I think it was off the coast of Cuba.
And they covered that shit up. But if y'all look at y'all Google Maps, you can see the whole Atlantic is underwater,
There's
and
Mm-hmm.
another
water
pyramid.
recedes and goes up and down.
There's another pyramid off the coast of New Orleans too.
Yeah, there's a couple of pyramids that submerged underwater, and I think that came from when the it's just a theory. It's not even a factual or something that's supported by evidence. It's just pretty much of a hypothesis that once the ice started to melt, that's what formed the Atlantic Ocean.
Now, A1 want to ask you this for the longest. We see the algorithms changing from these major networks. They want to start talking about South America, America, Atlantis over something. How do you feel about the little story they put out about the Earth core stopping and going back into reverse?
Well, say that one more time, cause you had a little.
How you feel about the story about the Earth core stopping and going in reverse?
Hmm. I like honestly, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Like I can't prove none of this shit, right? So I try not to really focus on it because there's the only way we can prove some of this shit, my dude, if we go on the core of Earth and see it ourselves. The people even who coming up with these hypotheses haven't even been there. It's just theory. It's just some theological shit that they saying, right? I believe the Earth is an infinite plane. Now I do believe there's a core that you can go through the north and go through the South Pole. They actually showed that shit in King Kong versus Godzilla. They showed this nigga go through one of the holes that's in the earth and come all the way out on the other side, come out on Asia somewhere. You know what I'm saying? He went into America and
And
came out.
classified CIA reports. Go ahead, my bad.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. Yes.
So the
I'm
reason
just
why I'm
saying.
asking you that is like because we can't make it about the outside and we need ammunition. What would be like? How can we correlate that to us?
I mean, we can, but like I said, like I don't know. That's not like that's something like I know about Beyond the Pole, Admiral Byrd, and I've heard the Hollow Earth shit and all that shit. But the one that makes the most sense to me that
Sky
this
Alpha,
is
I'm gonna just be honest. Some of you guys are a little twacked out, and we try our best to understand some of y'all guys' theories.
I mean, it's a river under the ocean. I mean, this dude went down there and there was another body of water, like literally under the ocean.
They killed him after he dropped that knowledge too.
and there are
What about?
caves. There's
Go
caves
ahead.
that run under the ocean floor. There's caves that actually run under there. You know what I'm saying? That I've heard a lot of people mention. Now, like I said, can any of this shit be confirmed? Nah, it can't be confirmed because the only confirmation outside of we believing what somebody else saying is doing the research ourselves and doing the experiments. But in this
Yeah, so
case, we don't.
all you hear is the stories like the underwater rivers and lakes and shit that's up under the ocean.
Also,
They said
do
a
you have to
song.
believe to know something exists? Go
Hold
ahead, my
on.
No, no,
bad.
no, 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 no. You don't have to believe nothing. I'm just saying. What I'm saying to you is this, little bro. Like when it comes to this Aboriginal history, we can find tangible evidence to for our cause, right? And even like with the Atlantis thing and the traveling thing and the trade routes, we can find research for all this. And even like you said, with some of the stuff you're saying, you can find research. But at the end of the day, can it be solidified? It can't be solidified unless we actually seen this shit. And even if they show it to you, the shit still could be fake. Cause you see the motherfucking moon landing. The moon landing, they actually did some shit in Arizona through Stanley Kubrick, right? He actually produced the shit, right? So we see the moon landing with our actual eyes, right? But
He'll
that
get our
shit is
shit pulled.
huh?
Go ahead.
We see the moon landing, right, with Stanley Cooper, right, and after he did that movie with Tom Cruise, he got whacked, right? He got pushed, right? What's that? What the fuck is the name of that movie? I can't think of the name of it right now. But after he did that movie, he got pushed, right? They actually went through the trouble because they probably wanted people to believe this shit emphatically, right? That motherfuckers went to the moon. But under further research of that shit turns out to be some pseudo fake Hollywood construction or production. You know what I'm saying? That's what that turns out to be.
So, Bap, I'll give you some foundation to my speculation of things. When I talk about like that Earth core shit, it's funny when I'm like, y'all reversing the spells and changing the thought patterns to how certain people was thinking, and then they come out with that article. That's what I was just trying to talk it to. And the big hawk just flew over my head. That's confirmation.
Bro, I just seen the red tail hawk the other day, white tail hawk, two of them.
Man. I be seeing them motherfuckers all the time. Red tails and white tails.
Oh yeah, it's some beautiful birds. I ain't realized how much I like nature until I really started to pay attention to it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, like I said, man, we can confirm that we are the Aborigines, right? We can confirm that. We can do research to prove that. But some of this other esoteric research that's out
Yeah,
here,
like motherfucking lizards living in the inside of Antarctica, and you know what I'm saying. I understand that. I believe that that its waters up under the ocean, and I believe that story when the military naval guy said the submarine wouldn't even go through the waters. It kept bouncing off the waters. It wasn't penetrated. It couldn't go
what you
through.
mean? What you mean? Oh, you said all right, okay. Yeah, I'm familiar with that. You just said the mounds went underground so far, so we know. And like I said,
Talk about it.
you cross-reference this to what Hakeem Bey was saying. Hakeem Bey was saying that we had cities underground. He was saying that shit back in the 90s. And niggas thought, this nigga sued. These niggas sued. No. These are the Aborigines. Yeah, these are the Aborigines of America doing this. They already said they found pyramids in the Grand Canyon, motherfucker. Like this shit is right now when we dealing and doing this research, it's infinite possibilities to this
Frank
history.
Moses said that.
You see what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, and see, people just get stuck on the term Indian. If it don't say Indians didn't do it, you don't know how to put yourself in the shoes to say my people had the science to do it. Unfortunate for me and AP and the rest of the brothers. Somebody mute their mic, please.
Alpha, bro, you just wrote this shit, bro. Keep the mic muted, man.
Fortunate for me, AP, Jag, and the rest of the brothers who read the American Indian Encyclopedia, after reading that shit from front to back, like it's infinite possibility. I see all of this shit. All of this shit is a possibility. But it's just the fact that you're dealing and you're being challenged by people who lack information, who lack research, who not an independent thinker going to do their own research. They're not going to always agree with what somebody's saying, or you know what I'm saying. I'm a researcher, so I'm definitely not in agreement all the time. You know what I'm saying, and I'm trying to be disagreeable because the disagreeable shit is the shit that you don't know about. You know, and I say shout out to Jesse Ventura. When I used to be watching Jesse Ventura shit, he used to always say.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Some of you guys sound just like fam on here. Fam.
But he used to say unpopular speech is always rejected. Unpopular speech is not popular, right? You know what I'm saying? And that's anything that goes outside of it. Now, we have a narrative now within, well, I ain't going to say we, because I mean they. I'm going to say they. Them Aboriginals or Indians or whatever, right? They have constructed the end all be all to what an Indian is, what the history of the Indians is. We don't agree with that shit over here. We push other shit. We push the technology. We push the science. We push these mythology places that these people keep on saying was here in America. We find resources and sources to connect that shit. That's what we do over here. And thanks to brothers over here, now people are understanding that Slavs were not the people who brought Africans here. They was actually the people who was in servants themselves, right? Now we find out we lived in towns, we had buildings. Now we found out that all of these inventions, this ain't, people hear this shit and then they piggyback off it. Matter of fact, that's my mechanic. Let me mute my mic. Go ahead.
Shit, I'm about to get ready to get out of here anyways, man. Shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to Tanchin Amarukan. Shout out to Tanchinus One. Shout out to Superman. Shout out to Shy Alphas. And shout out to the rest of the people in the chat, man. Shout out to all my brothers and sisters that's in here. Make sure y'all hit that like button.
Peace to the guys. Thanks for the dialogue and back. Nobody gonna blow up your spot. We ain't gonna tell people you're a Men in Black character.
Man, get out of here, man. Lay off them shrooms, man.
He gonna take that. He gonna zip that whole skin off when he get off the live, y'all. Peace, love, one.
You gotta stop drinking that frog juice out the back. That shit whooping y'all brains, man. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. But we gotta be open-minded though. So man, I do appreciate the builds though. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Tanchin Amarukan, Superman, appreciate y'all brothers. Man, with that being said, make sure y'all be safe, be aware, stay vigilant, stay dangerous. It's your brother Aboriginal Power, and we out. Peace.
See, my life has been in motion. I'm a little windy. I'm not giving up yet. If you with me, time to place up your bet. Ain't no turning back, got niggas who ran. When we caught his ass, got caught in that jam. Yeah, you know who I am. Yeah, you know who I am. I can feel it coming. I can feel it coming. It's that feeling in your stomach, you can feel it coming. It's that feeling in your stomach, you can feel it coming. Yeah, you can feel it coming. Fake love, that snake you in your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God wrote it. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God wrote it. Too much fake love, that snake you in your face, love. Your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God wrote it. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God wrote it. Too much fake love, that snake you in your face, love. Your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God wrote it.